All right, what's going on, guys? Austin back, and today we're doing the first ever reaction on the Austin Next channel. We're going to be reacting to the entire history of Rainbow Six Siege esports in 150 minutes, which is 2.5 hours pretty much. So, with the Siege Invitational 2025 incoming, obviously in my time when I'm recording this, it's next week, February 3rd, 2025. Mark your calendars. But in the spirit of that, I've gotten in the spirit of Pro League, and I started watching Pro League about last year, about this time actually, at the 2024 Invitational. I started watching it, so I have no clue what happened before that. Obviously, maybe I've seen like some TikToks, or I have some knowledge of like things that I picked up on whatever or however it may be, but I know nothing. You know what I mean? And I'm sure a lot of people don't know a lot of stuff about Pro League, and obviously it's going to be popping right now with the Invitational. So I wanted to watch this video. Now this is a very, very long video. Again, this is my first reaction ever, so this should be very, very fun. This video was made by Milosh. He is a pro. He is in the Pro League scene. I forget if he's a commentator or exactly what he is, but he's a very, very cool dude, for sure. I love watching him. He definitely makes it entertaining, and the streams and stuff like that that you see on Twitch, YouTube, and stuff like that for the games. But I will link his YouTube and this video down in the description, so shout out to him for making this video. But without further ado, let's just get into it, bro. It's gonna be no cuts, starting in the prehistory. Here we go. The prehistory, man. Prehistory. We have to learn the prehistory.
Siege sported a few alpha and earlier release tournaments. Show matches mostly lost to time, as is Gamescom 2015 and IEM Katowice 2016. Now, shortly after IEM, the very first season of Rainbow...
First pause. I'm pretty sure Siege came out in 2015. So basically, the Pro League is starting in the year that it was founded. I don't know if that's common for games. I think there's already a Marvel Rivals Pro League, but I'll keep it going.
Six Pro League kicked off.
Here we go.
Not only was Pro League played on PC, but this year had a collaboration with Microsoft. So both PC and Xbox leagues ran
console
one another
Pro League. Imagine, bro.
One league, two regions, NA and EU, with 8 teams in each.
Okay.
You qualify to play in said leagues by playing GoForce, ESL's proprietary tournaments, and by gathering
I've heard of
points,
GoFor a lot.
with the top 2 of each region qualifying directly to a LAN final. I'd like to note that both LATAM, the South America/Brazil region, and the entire APAC region aren't present in official competitions.
That's low-key crazy.
This time,
bro, there's
despite
hella
this,
regions
both
now.
of the regions
Hella
had
regions.
many local and regional tournaments, with the biggest one being Liga Elite 6 in Brazil.
Never
To
heard
give
of
context
that.
on the meta back then, I'll just say these words: Shield recruit with
Wow.
smoke and frag grenades
Wow.
on Hereford base.
Wow. Oh my god. Hereford base. Oh my god. Imagine you queued a ranked these days, and you had to watch, like, the pros had to play in this, bro. Holy moly. Oh,
Yeah,
holy moly.
That's how whack everything was.
Recruit
You also couldn't deploy
too?
more than one drone at a time. If you did, the one already out would auto-destroy.
What?
This obviously massively limits your scouting and flank
Yeah,
damage
what?
potential. This is ironic. Sorry,
I don't get it.
something kicked off there. But this is where players like Kickstar,
Oh my god.
and Canadian
House Pro League 2? House Pro League. Oh my god, old house. Wow. Okay. On the screen, who do I know? Right, the one that I'm covering up. I know this is Kickstar. Rest in peace. Pengu's in the middle, Canadian on the way right. Canadian still plays. He's tough as hell. Pengu, I'm pretty sure, is like considered the GOAT. So we'll see if his teams go off in this video.
break ground. This is why, even though we're so far past this era, I still find it important to keep in mind that these early days shaped many of the players and community members that thrive to this day. And the list gets quite long. Year 1 wrapped up with the crowning of 6
Oh my
Pro League
god,
champions,
bro.
3
Pro
on each
League
platform.
on controller,
Excellence,
bro.
Denial, and Vitality on Xbox.
Can we just bring that back? Can we just bring that back? Okay, I need to stop pausing, but I just need to say that, bro. Can we bring that back, please? Imagine, bro. I'm grinding. I'm literally grinding.
Xbox,
I'm grinding
Penta,
that.
Youngtis, and CTM.
I've heard of Penta.
Continuum for PC.
I've heard of Penta.
And then came the surprise.
Oh shit, ancient history, the first invitational. Wait. I wonder if they had it
In
the
November
first year, like
2016,
2015.
Ubisoft and
2016.
the tournament
Alright.
organizer ESL announced a brand new tournament, the Six Invitational, a world championship for Siege inspired by Dota 2's International.
Dota
Let's keep
2.
in mind that the Siege dev team in the day were massive Dota fans and likely wanted to
Never
capture a
seen
similar
Dota.
feeling for their own game, a tournament combining esports, game updates, and community like no other. A melting pot
Let's
that,
elevate.
in my opinion, would not only succeed, but thrive far beyond expectations in the coming years. To the devs, that event had to pass by the birthplace of Siege, Montreal, Canada. And in February
Ooh,
2017,
that's the birthplace?
that's exactly what transpired.
Montreal? I'm pretty sure, bro, the last major was the Montreal
Let's set
major.
the scene.
What up, Milos?
Continuum, the reigning Pro League champions, and Sisu, written Gifu, the third-rated EU
that's kinda
team,
tough.
were invited to SI-17 directly, with 4 more from regional qualifiers.
SI-17,
Now on the
so...
Xbox side came Elevate and Vitality, joined by 4 qualified squads. APAC and LATAM
They had Invitational for console too? Bro, I'm jealous,
also
bro. Bring this
participated for the
back.
first time, with 1 team from each region for each platform,
Welcome.
putting the
Welcome.
world in World Championship.
Welcome, welcome.
Now, CTM and Elevate took dominant wins on PC and Xbox
Elevate.
respectively,
Elevate's kind of poverty
cementing NA
nowadays.
as the region going into the new year. This new year also came with the biggest addition
my
to
God,
the
look at
Siege
the
Pro League
game.
circuit, the inclusion of LATAM. Known for its explosive, aggressive playstyle, with APAC also set to join later in for Season 6. No longer were the regions relegated to
Oh
a
my
mere
god.
show.
Wait. Okay, I need to stop pausing for real, bro. Look at how I just want you to see. I didn't play the game like this back then, but like just looking at it now,
Join
look at
later
how
in
fast
for Season 6.
you ADS.
No longer
Not
were the
even here,
regions
here.
relegated to a mere show match.
That's
like with the
literally
Season 2
instantly.
finals in Leicester.
Oh
With the
my
league's
God.
expansion came also
Wow.
difficult news for the Xbox scene,
No.
as SI-17 would be the last time it saw official action.
No.
And you'd be
Rip.
surprised by how many prodigies that scene created. Players like Laxing, Bibu, and Bosco immediately migrated to
Oh my
the scene,
god. I know the
shifting
dude on the
tides
left.
in each
He's
region
like a
and
commentator or
adding
some
a
shit.
unique perspective
And the dude in the middle,
to
I know.
future metas. 2017
Bro, that's crazy.
looked like the birth of a new esport.
Can we get a rip for console, please, in the comments? The chat. The Bronze Age. Ooh, I see
Early
Penguin's name on the
2017
right.
saw a continuation of the meta. Loads of Valkyrie and Blackbeard. Plenty of not being able to see past 3
Pre-Blackbeard.
inches in or out a window. An
Pre-Blackbeard
Operation Velvet
rework.
Shell thrusting Mira.
Oh my
into the
god,
limelight.
Mira! Oh
Remember
my
that
god.
Blackbeard at this time still had his 900 HP shield,
Oh my.
and
I
this
forgot
era was fortunately
bro.
coming to a close. Now, I talked about team reforms with Xbox disbanding,
Rip. Rip,
but
guys,
in the
rip.
deep, a new threat was brewing. A menace of a team that would conquer the world. Flipside.
I don't know them. Like, I don't get the joke. I don't get the joke. I don't get it.
I love you guys. It's just, I don't know what I was thinking.
Loves flip side.
Penta Sports.
Penta.
Vamos, Penta.
That's I know him. That's Fabian, bro.
Penta Sports.
That's Fabian.
Vamos,
And that's Pengu in the back. Look at him. You can barely see him, bro.
Penta.
Oh my god, Glass. The game just looks so much different, bro. I'm not gonna be able to get over this, bro. Like, oh my god, look at this. Instant ADS, bro. Pengu going
Pengu,
fed.
Fabian, Goga, KS, Jonas, and their sixth, Falco. A unique and short-lived take,
Six?
alternating their fifth player depending on the map.
Oh, okay.
Something that later would be disallowed had burst. onto
That
the
seems
scene.
kind of like
Season 4 finals saw
OP.
Penta dismantle team after team, rendering even Nesk's Valkyrie useless.
Nesk.
on
I know
console.
Nesk.
A staple map for Penta.
He was on Black Dragons.
Swiftly ending the final.
He's on
5-1,
Liquid now.
5-0.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was a dominant
5-0.
Only topped by
5-1?
Elevate's 10-0 win versus Vitality at SI-17.
Oh my god. Imagine, like, you're playing like. How do you 10-0 in a championship? Like that should be
Also,
at least kind of
yeah,
close.
Pro games were first to 5 back then. That would only be increased up to 6 by the 2018 Paris Major, and later to 7 in 2019.
7 is
Games
like
were pretty
perfect, bro. 7 is
Also,
perfect.
you swap size after every single round.
Ew.
Half times didn't exist. Neither did a pause timer. In my opinion, It's a lot of great quality of life changes.
Yeah, bro, they
coming
cook.
into the game.
Yeah, they cook with the changes. On
This
God,
event
they
saw
did.
also the reveal of Operation Health, a massive effort on the part of Siege's dev team.
W Siege. Do we
overhauled
need
internal
another?
code and all the
Do we need
interconnected
another?
systems, allowing for a smoother player experience, better performance, and most importantly, a solid foundation on which the future of Siege could be built. Now that it was clear from viewership and player numbers that a bright future is within reach with more investment. And yeah,
Bro, like low key at this time, bro, I'm a Fortnite maniac, bro. I'm a Fortnite maniac. What is this like? Bro, this is like eight years ago, bro. Siege is like a decade old. That's low key crazy. That's low key insane, bro. What was I doing 8 years ago, bro? I'm like 10, 11. I'm like 10, 11 playing Fortnite.
that meant the future with no
Oh my god.
Skyrim
What in
players.
the what?
From ESL's Katowice studio in season 4, Siege
Yo,
went
tell
to
me you
its
guys saw
first
that
open
Habana.
event in Europe. Gamescom 2017 saw a booth dedicated to the season 5 finals, where world champion King George, yeah, you heard it,
King
and his
George.
NA squad would play under the banner of the biggest organization yet to enter Siege.
Oh my god, cameraman. I know cameraman.
Despite this,
I know
it was
Rogue.
Elevate, led by the duo of Skies and Laxing, that held NA's hopes high. Hopes that ultimately came crashing against Penta Sports,
Penta, bro.
who now had won 2 consecutive Pro League finals,
Yeah, bro.
tying Continuum Season 3 and SI17 wins.
Oh my god, Canadian.
Those
Oh my god,
events,
Canadian
Pro
and King George
were
on the same
original
team?
majors. They served the same purpose, although on
Okay.
a much smaller scale. The Season 6 finals were
Okay.
set for November in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Although these finals became known for being the PowerPoint event, shout out to Pojaman, due to unfortunate
I
stream
think I know
issues,
him.
they were significant for 3 reasons.
PowerPoint.
APAC was participating for the first time,
Ooh,
and
welcome,
set 2
APAC.
teams out of the 8 in total.
Welcome,
A
APAC.
fairly controversial idea at the time. LATAM, pretty much Brazil,
What up, LATAM?
finally had home turf advantage and a massive crowd, potentially pushing their 2 teams to a first win. And thirdly, Siege events had gone international. Events would no
Come on,
longer be
Siege.
confined to EU and NA.
They
There's a whole
cooking.
world out there that adored this game and its
Hype
esports scene.
shit.
The Brazilian frontrunners, Black Dragons, led by Julio, managed to defeat
Julio,
Finals
bleed
Penta
coach,
Sports
old
in the
bleed coach.
semi-final, a feat
Rip.
no other team had
Rip bleed.
managed to achieve, and were poised to win it all.
We get a rip bleed in the
APAC,
chat.
unfortunately, came last, scoring only a few rounds in total.
Oh my god, is this
but,
Oregon,
very
bro?
important here, did go home with a great deal of experience. It's the first time experience here. You gotta start somewhere.
Bang.
Canadian was finally back in action, and this time
Let's go,
not on an
man.
analyst desk, and playing under the banner of Evil Geniuses, one of the oldest and most decorated
I know them.
organizations
I
in
know
esports. However, they were swiftly dispatched by the one squad that managed to sneak under everyone's radar, in a
Not
move that would
Penta?
surely never be repeated again. The tenacious Finns of NC Esports, led by
NC,
Wilkie
bro.
and spearheaded by the young
I'm
gunner
pretty sure
Kenta
they-
Raketti, swept aside
Kenta
Canadian's
Raketti?
Evil Geniuses and kept
Bro,
it up
that
to the
name
grand
kind of has
final.
aura, bro.
The second map in
I
that
think
series,
they still
Chile,
exist.
saw Kenta Raketti single-handedly backpack ends across the finish line. Get it? Because they're all Finns. Well,
Good
nobody
one,
could believe it.
Milos.
Despite all the odds stacked against them, this plucky team made out like bandits in the night and secured Europe a 3 out of 3
Bang.
win streak for the year.
Bang.
And all of this was in preparation for the next big
Dude got on
thing.
his knees, bro.
6 Invitational 2018.
Wait, when did they say that it went to 6? The Renaissance. Did it say go to 6 in the Paris Major? I think it was. So it's still 5 in this. I'm
Mirroring
pretty sure.
SI17, this invitational is set to take place in Montreal, Canada. But it was meant to be the biggest event to date. Built from the ground up to enhance the community and game updates part of the previous year, it put front and center fan artists, developers, cosplayers, community streamers,
Dang,
content
bro.
creators,
Siege cooking.
all
Oh my god,
working hand in
BCJ,
hand
what
to
up,
push the
twin?
new scale of the event in size and competition and
Phase.
the music. God damn, the music is
Is this the music in the
chill-inducing.
back?
It's incredible.
Oh, he's gonna play. Okay, that is kind of tough, bro. That
Seeing
is
this
kind of
live,
tough.
Either in person or at
Oh, they
home
played it in
was
person, bro.
incredibly
That's probably even
satisfying.
better.
I still get goosebumps to this day. With EU winning so hard in 2017, the region was awarded an extra point at SI18 through the open qualifiers,
Extra point?
instead of the singular team per each of the 4 regions,
Extra
but also
point.
a community vote. Yeah,
Community.
a community vote. The Twitter poll to choose who gets an SI invite.
Are you serious? Bro, okay. That's literally the equivalent of like basically if like an NBA, like you just voted in a team. Like he said, if you go on X and there's just a poll and you just get to vote in whatever team you want in the NBA playoffs, the NFL playoffs, MLB playoff. That why is that a thing? Who cooked with that?
Needless to say,
Who
despite some of
cooked
the
with
world's
that, bro?
largest and biggest sports stars pushing for either Brazil or France to send a representative, this was a quagmire of a decision, with alleged vote botting and a general lack of "we earned the spot" for
Vote
any
botting,
team who
bro.
voted in. Reasons why you won't see it ever be implemented again.
Yeah.
I would also
bro.
add that at this exact moment, Japanese law finally caught up with esports
Ah, come
and
on,
allowed
Japan!
licensed organizations to collect prize money and for players to finally be paid.
Let's
Great
go.
news for the Japanese competitors.
Oh, they're winning.
here we are.
We're winning,
Snowy
bro.
winter Montreal, with more teams than ever before at 16 in total from the 4
16.
corners of the world.
How many are in this
competing
one?
for the
20?
title of
20,
world
I think?
champion. For the
18 or
first time
20.
ever, we saw a full German team playing internationally.
Come on,
Same
Germany.
for a Russian team in a room factory. Evil Geniuses and Penta were drawn into the same Group A, with Penta
Yep.
winning the head-to-head to top their group and go on to smash ENCE and even bitter rivals Black Dragons in the semifinals.
Damn, bro.
EU was on the cusp of making history.
Bro,
On the other
Penta's
side of the playoff bracket,
insane.
EG took out a tenacious face
What up,
clan,
cameraman?
known at the time for their explosive start-stop-start game plan. And
Start,
after
stop,
another
start.
grueling fight versus NA rivals Rogue in the semis, EG stood poised to defend NA's crown and recover the region's lost honor in
What,
Pro
so
League.
Evil Genius versus Penta?
What
the
transpired
ship?
in that final,
In the
for me,
ship?
to this day, 6 years later,
Oh, so.
was the best match in the history of CG Sports. Despite
Best
the arena
match?
itself not being the largest Siege has had,
That's
the
so tough.
crowd was on fire. The brand new operators, Finka and Lion, were just
The
revealed.
lion!
The new PvE
Onk.
mode Outbreak was revealed
never
to
played
incredible
this.
levels of hype. Operator and gameplay updates were welcomed with open arms, and the music swelled as the
Cook.
finalists made it into the
Cook.
arena. For the next few hours, Penta and EG were neck and neck in a best of 5, the first of its kind in CG Sports. Yet EG
Ooh, best
kept
first-
pulling
what's
over the
first
edge and took series point at 2-0 on Oregon,
Damn,
Penta
up
were on the back
2-0.
and they needed a savior.
Oh, they
a
come
hero,
back, no?
and nothing less.
Come on,
than
Fabian?
God Emperor
Oh,
would
it's
save the day.
Pengu. Oh, they definitely
They
come
had
back, bro.
was a
They
step above.
definitely come back.
They had Fabian.
I can't be happy and I can't be glad and not shout
Oh,
at you
sir.
if we don't do our basic shit.
They are shitting their fucking pants right now.
Boys, this is it.
There's no excuses now. They have everything to lose now. We have 0-2. This is our next map.
That one-sided
Cook.
hook
Cook,
turned the
Fabian,
tides.
wait.
Cafe Dostoevsky was close, but Penta had their first map.
Bang.
Bank was even better. A clean 5-2. All
Bang.
tied up 2-2 on series point. Coastline, all that was left.
Coastline
Both Penta and EG
Pro League.
played like no one ever has before. Trading blow for blow, they reach overtime. Penta take the first defense, but attack was the real issue here. What you're about to see is one of the greatest moments
Wait.
in Siege history.
Left. Two of the best known players
2v2?
on that team. Their captain
2v2
Submission
playing
trying
down?
to follow
Damn.
down. It's Pengu.
For
The Ash
Fabian.
just waiting, or rather the Hibana just waiting. They'll look to push
No,
together.
Pengu, he's
Fingers
about
are
to
in a
cook.
position where they'll have to see when the Hibana goes through. One will cover the
Wait.
doorway as they start to
Bang.
defend. Pengu
That's
goes
one.
on the young
Wait.
man. They'll just-
Bang.
They're often known as the best team in the world, never having that distinction
Bang,
until
bro.
today. Penta are your world
Bang.
champions.
They had done it. The
Bro, like, I'm not gonna lie. This Siege looks so prehistoric. This reminds me of, like... Bro, this reminds me of, like, Jordan back in the day. Like, the game just looked so much like... Jordan's my GOAT, but, like...
reverse sweep was complete, and
You know what I'm
Penta
saying?
were world champions.
Damn, bro. They
No
choked
one could believe it.
0-2?
This wasn't just EU's time.
Yo, chalk Canadian, bro.
This was the start of an era.
Oh
A
shit.
dynasty had been found.
Okay, they kind of have aura, bro. Oh my god, dude, front left aura. Aura farming. What is this one? The Age of Kings or the God Emperor's Dynasty. That is one of the hardest
In
things
my
I've ever
opinion,
heard, bro.
Winning a couple of events doesn't make you a dynasty-worthy team. You have to absolutely dominate the esports calendar and the specific games that you play, the big landmark matches. And yes, spoiler alert, Pentasports just kind of did that. It
Okay.
did start off with a bit
Little
of a hiccup,
Patriots
though.
Chiefs action here, bro.
The first Pro League final set in the USA was to be Season 7 in Atlantic City, New
What did he say the Pro League final was? Did he say it was the major? Pretty much, because they didn't have majors at this point. It was Pro League final, and then like they'd have the Invitational. It was like the big event. I'm pretty sure that's what he
Jersey.
said.
And, no shade to New Jersey, but it kind of sucks there.
Okay.
Anyways, someone's hand
Oh,
drew Penta
wait,
versus
what up,
EG to
Milos?
be played in quarterfinals. And
Oh
look,
damn.
honestly, it might have been for the best.
Oh,
since
damn,
people
wait.
immediately got the game they want, and we could have some shift in the story deeper in the bracket. A point about Penta here. Many forget
Evil
that Shate
genius.
had played
They gonna
on the
cook?
squad and was world champion. But even more, forget that Shate has stepped aside at this point for personal
Oh,
reasons.
damn.
And with not much more than a week before the event, Penta had picked up Ensis Kantaraketi on loan, a name we
he's-
now hold
he's tough.
synonymous with the Penta G2 legacy. A couple of teams arrived as dark horses, nobody really knowing what to expect of them. Norengo from Japan had just topped the APAC charts.
Oh, wait,
whereas
that
Millennium for
logo's
France
tough.
was seen more of a mishmash of French hopefuls with massive pedigree shoes to fill. Let's remember, they are descendants of Youngtis in some ways. Despite
Youngtis.
Norengo's incredible performance, shout out to Waka,
But especially players like Waka, who was eating them up like he was Pac-Man. Get it? Like Waka Waka Waka. Yeah. Anyway, but
Okay.
he was absolutely.
Rogue faced a
Okay,
Penta
bro.
that had yet again come back versus EG after the first map to seal the deal
Dang.
in the semis. Well, Penta sent Rogue packing, with each of the 3 maps being quite one-sided. And
Dang,
there
bro.
it was. Penta in the grand final once more.
Okay, bro.
Undefeated
Penta actually just
versus
runs
NA.
shit, bro.
The bottom bracket also had tight matches.
Just run
With FaZe
shit.
bowing out to Millennium, it was a big blow to Brazil, delivered by the plucky French squad.
Come on,
Liquid
buddy.
looked shaky on map 1 versus Fnatic, but eventually took the win regardless for a
Go, Liquid.
semi-final spot. Millennium, look, they had a lot of heart. Something that just kind of happens
Bro,
when you're
look
led
at
by Riven
Nesk.
in the server and with Capel as your coach, but it was Liquid's day to win. The
Bro,
grand
look
final
at
was set.
Nesk.
Liquid versus Penta.
Liquid versus Penta. Bro,
Brazil
Liquid's
had
kind of
entered
tough, I think.
competition 1 year ago. Teams from the region had gone close, even on home turf. And to win it all, Liquid had to go through the world champion, Penta.
On God,
Bank went to Penta
Penta's
5-1.
winning this shit.
It looked like the series was over right then and
won.
there. On border though, Liquid fought like hell, taking it to overtime and the map as a whole.
Come on. Wait,
Consulate
Liquid?
was one of Penta's best maps. They were feared and revered on it in Europe. This was the map that 1 year ago, Nesk was constantly punished on, where Penta won their first Pro League championship. And despite what Fabian might say about Liquid abuse
This consolate's better, by the way. I just wanted to say that. This is the better consulate, bro. The rework is worse than this.
using Lion or whatever, the Brazilians score a 5-1 victory.
Mm.
Liquid were Pro League champions.
Wait.
Brazil had finally lifted a trophy.
Is Penta washed?
Now,
Penta
Liquid's
already
roster was a
washed.
mix of talent. Zig and Nesk were the old timers of the bunch.
That's
and had
sexy
competed
cakes.
for years, even outside of Siege at this point.
Bro,
Bullet had grinded
Nesk is a
Siege so
Nesk
hard,
is a goat.
he
I
landed
know
on the
that.
top team in Brazil before the region was integrated. Same for PSK, who was a graduate of Pain Gaming, an organization with tons of general esports history in Brazil. And finally, the prodigy Sexy Cake, who had been touted as the up-and-comer in
course, as soon as a-
2017,
Of course, he's
only
a
to be
prodigy,
swiftly picked
bro.
up by Liquid when he turned 18 and was eligible to play.
Bro, that edit is
Silas
tough,
and
though.
Sensi, the coaches of the team, also had extensive knowledge and experience in Siege, having competed at the highest level.
Yo, the dude on the right looks like the one detective from Death Note. I forgot his name. He kind of looks like L. A little bit, too. But bro, I forget his name. He looks more like the one detective. I forgot his
Possible in
name.
Brazil, with Silence, of course, being one of the first Brazilians to ever compete at Six Invitational 2017 under Santos' dexterity. This was legitimately the best squad in Brazil, and now they were the best out of all the Pro League teams. It's here that I'd like to take a detour for a gameplay and esports update. Look, it's no secret. Lion was busted. Later in the year, Lion would be permabanned pending an operator rework, and a quarantine period for newly added operators would be set as one whole season before they were introduced into competitive play, trying to avoid major imbalance, as was the case with Lion.
Bro, cause Lion, you could literally see through walls with him. That's crazy. He just got permabanned. So what? Like every game you'd load in, like he'd just be banned. You don't even need to ban him, but you can like pick him. That's low key crazy, bro. You're not gonna see stuff like that.
To also have
again,
more
bro.
control over game balance, a new operator ban system was introduced in the upcoming patch.
Didn't have bans to this point. What year is this? So they've been what? Like what is this? 2018, 2019? Are we 3 to 4 years with no bans? That is ridiculous. What a change.
Teams would be able to ban one attacker and one defender each in a pre-map ban phase. And the attack and defense rounds would now swap at halftime rather than after each round.
There we go.
Obviously, these changes split the community opinion.
What?
But in my mind...
Trevor, are we serious? Trevor, on God, does not think this way anymore. He's just trying to be different, bro. He's just trying to be different, bro. Come on, Trevor, lock in,
These were
bro.
necessary changes for the game's health and the esports' longevity. Also, this was the time when the system we now know as R6 Share would come to life as the R6
that's like
pilot
skins
program.
and stuff.
The goal was to introduce team-specific skins and cosmetic sets for weapons and operators.
Bro, like,
where
what happened to this, bro? Siege is taking constant W's right now. Operators, they're getting out updates, new skins. Like, they're cooking, bro.
the revenue from their sale in the game store would be split between the organization, players, Ubisoft,
See, and that's good,
and the
bro.
entire esports
That's
ecosystem.
good.
This had been done in the past in Siege back in 2017, but not to the scale where all participating Pro League teams would be eligible to join as long as they fulfilled certain requirements, among which is partnering with Siege content creators. It's a great idea and an important piece in funding for teams and players. Who doesn't want their team name and logo to be associated with a hugely popular game
That's what I'm
and
saying,
make
bro.
money from it at the same time, you know? With the first 6-month season wrapped up, the entire scene eyed up the first ever major event, the 2018 Paris Major.
Okay, so
Now,
this is the first
majors
major?
were designed to be kind of a counterbalance to the World Championship that was SI, and for the scene to have a mid-year anchor in the summer. Think of it as the SummerSlam to SI's WrestleMania.
Yeah,
You also had a few different ways of qualifying for a major, much like with SI. You could be in the top 2 of your Pro League region, having qualified to the previous Pro League final. You could win a spot through the open qualifiers of each region, or you could attend a minor event and win. And much like the open qualifiers, you didn't have to be a Pro League team to participate. Literally anyone could put a team together and...
Is that still the case? Can you just do that? Like, can you dead ass? Like, I could just like, hey, bro, me and I get like 4 people, and we just like play PC, and I can just like make them, and I can just make like the major invitational. I mean,
give it a shot. This path to pro was incredibly important, especially in an era where franchising and esports had become the norm in multiple esports title, which, in my opinion, led to the suffocation of a lot of grassroots in many esports scenes.
see, like,
It's at this moment that a partnership...
see, like, this is like the only, like, I have never watched any other Pro League. Like, this is the only Pro League that I've ever watched. So, like, I don't really know much about anything else other than this. So, like, a lot of this is like I'm hearing
between
for the first
Ubisoft and
time.
DreamHack would be set up,
DreamHack, I know
meaning that
DreamHack.
those minor tournaments would be handled by a production company that was specialized in this format, as it
Valid.
has been with StarCraft or Counter-Strike. The event to kick it all off.
Oh my
was
God,
set
that's
shortly after
Shroud.
the Pro League
What up,
Finals,
Shroud?
DreamHack Austin in Texas.
What up?
These minor events would open up invitations to Pro League and Challenger League teams first, and host a BYOC, bring your own computer, qualifier on site for any other team
Is that Shroud
wanting
again?
to fight for a shot of glory. Obviously, with an event in the USA, the majority of squads playing would
Space
be
Station.
American,
You look at Space
with
Station's
only
logo. That
5
shit
out of the
ass.
16 teams coming from Europe. It was kind of considered a foregone conclusion that NA would just win the whole thing. Would you be surprised, though, if I told you EU ended up winning? Yeah,
What?
very unbiased, Milosh. Those plucky French and Belgians from Millennium
Wait,
smashed everyone in
Millennium.
groups and playoffs and pushed Evil Geniuses.
Oh,
Still the best.
why can't y'all
NA
trap
team
and take
to
over
their
your trap?
absolute
Why
limit.
can't y'all trap
The
and take
third
over
map
your
of the grand
trap? Come on,
final,
Millennium.
Border should have been an EG win. No
Oh my god,
two
they're playing
ways
Evil
around.
Genius too.
And yet, somehow,
Wow.
Millennium kept fighting back and took the win
Yo.
to the surprise.
Yo, chalk Evil Genius, bro. They cannot win shit. They get fucking pounded by Penta, and now they're
Of
getting pounded
everyone.
here, bro.
Hicks, the lonely dancer, had gone wild this tournament. And since Millennium already had a spot at the
Well, it looks
major,
like the Smith
EU
plays.
would be granted a second spot via the open qualifiers. With the new Pro League season underway just after Austin, it was only a few weeks from DreamHack Valencia, which would host the second major spot-earning event of 2018. One thing to note is that the online
They don't have
qualifiers
that
for the
anymore.
major had just ended, giving the German Orglis and, I don't know, the EU spots for Paris.
Valid.
Now, Orglis were seen as a catch-all team where the top German players would find
Bang.
themselves
Bang, good. Oh my
leaning
god.
in and out of
Wait.
Pro League limelight,
Claim.
but showing immense
Bang.
promise in every individual. I don't know, or IDK, was a curious little team, having been built off the rift of 2016's Playing Ducks and Snook and Nose.
Okay, bro. Okay.
So it had incredible talent in Leon Gids, Meepy, and LMs, but
I don't
is
know any of
definitely a
them.
story for another day. What you need to know.
Oh my
that
god,
people
is
thought-
that Bree Day? Bree Day! BDS, best support player in the world. I model my game after him. Shout out Bree Day, bro. If you can see this, I love the way you play.
that they had been wronged, and IDK deserved a
damn,
Pro
you
League
just died.
spot and more. Teams from all
You're
over
good,
the
you're good,
EU,
bro.
with the Brazilian NIP and NA's Rogue,
I know them.
also
I know
newcomers
them.
Cloud9,
I know them
flocked into
also.
Spain. ENCE had been at this point,
I
and
know-
especially
bro.
after their Pro League win in Brazil, major
ENCE.
European hopefuls, just behind Penta Sports, in a constant tug of war versus the French squads. The Paris Major was the first international event to ever be held in France. Vitality is headquartered in Paris, and the organization's pedigree
It's
holds an
probably here,
event like
maybe.
this to the height of national pride. All of that to say that Vitality really wanted that spot. To everyone's
Obviously,
surprise,
bro.
IDK had beaten Penta in the first semifinal of the day, meaning that in the
What?
context of who qualifies to the major, the grand final wouldn't play a role, only the second
Talk
semi.
Penta, bro.
Lo
Talk
and
Penta.
behold,
Wait,
ENCE
they lost?
played Vitality in the second semifinal. Both maps went to overtime.
Bang.
Clubhouse and Oregon were
Scooby-Doo.
bloody affairs, but in the end, Vitality's
It-
hunger was
Bro, the amount of times that I've seen Oregon upstairs on 1v1s, ranked videos, bro. My TikTok, when people are just 1v1ing on Oregon, bro. Tuski and the one guy from New York, he played Jinxie. I forget his name, but I always see him. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, but bro, it's just so weird to see it like this. You know what I mean? You get new gen. I don't really care, bro, but like it's insane to see it like this.
too much to handle for the Finns, and with tears of joy in their eyes, Vitality had
Bang.
confirmed their spot for Paris, and all of that.
Protect the
Bastille
home.
Day.
Protect the home
They
turf.
played IDK in the final, but it didn't matter anymore.
What is going on?
IDK won
Oh,
without
damn.
lifting a finger. In the end,
Damn.
everyone got what they wanted. With the expansion into minor events, the creation of national circuits, and the addition of a major event, the yearly prize pool of Siege tournaments had increased massively. It
Bang.
was finally possible
Come
for teams to compete full-time, and the prestige of winning the first ever major became every team's sole driver. En route to the major in August, Penta Sports' roster was officially signed under G2 Esports, who
Ooh. G2, welcome. G2, welcome. I know G2 is tough as heck. I know they at least won one chip. Spoiler, W spoiler.
need no introduction.
It literally.
Same
Oh wait, no,
applying
it
to
doesn't say.
IDK,
Doesn't
signing
say.
with Team Secret.
Ooh,
It was a
Secret,
great
welcome.
moment, with Europe getting more
that's for
and
Secret.
more attention and support from larger organizations.
Valid.
Both APAC and LATAM had a kind of disappointing run.
Oh,
NIP
damn.
was the only Brazilian team to make it to quarters, with Immortals, FaZe, and even current Pro League champions Liquid all knocked out. Liquid's
Damn,
Nest
even
was
Liquid?
also competing as he officially became a father. The morale
Aw,
hit is
damn.
definitely understandable. The Korean Element Mystic, Japanese Norengo, and Australian
Bro,
Fnatic
like, dude, the Nora Rengo logo, that shit is so hard. Oh my god, that thing is so hard. Why don't they exist today? Shout out Fnatic, bro. Fnatic headphones.
still
Tech.
gave it their
They're
all.
tech,
but
bro.
the top dogs of EU and NA weren't about to give up. in
Fnatic
groups.
reacts, bro. Go buy 'em.
G2 cleaved through the playoffs versus Millennium and Team Secret,
Man.
with hometown heroes Vitality bowing out to Secret. In a tournament now known for boasting some of the most mid games of a Siege event, Rogue vs Obey Alliance was a genuinely fun match to witness. Bosco, Skies, and Adam being fan favorites versus Rogue's Geometrics and Easily, known also for their charisma and in-game antics.
Geometrics? That name is
With Rogue
tough.
winning the NA Derby and EG taking out Nip, the fight around who's the best in NA was
No.
quickly settled, with EG coming on top.
No, it's not gonna be
And
EG
finally,
G2
we
in
had
the
the
chip.
G2 versus EG
No.
rematch from SI18, and EG was set on revenge.
Oh,
From personal
wait.
experience, getting to cast this match in person in
Oh, he
Paris was a wonderful
He does cast. Okay, I think he does. Maybe it changed. I think he's a caster though. Shout out Milos.
experience. It was a shame then that EG kind of rolled over to G2,
Wow.
and the
It's
famous
2-0.
6-2, 6-2, and the BO5 Grand Final would ensue. To few people's surprise, G2 might have faltered in Atlantic City, but they proved they were by far
They
and
just
away
3-0
the best
this
squad in
poverty.
Siege.
Yo.
The champ-
Evil genius. Frauds, bro. Far in the tournament every time. Owned by Pinta. It's given Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. It's giving LeBron, Toronto Raptors.
of the first ever Siege major.
Wow, bro. In the grand final, bro. 3-0, bro. Okay, maybe G2 just that good though. Penta, maybe they're just that good. I don't,
Now,
you know,
when people talk about the G2 roster domination and the dynasty,
bro, that
they mean
logo's so
this one.
hard.
Pengu, Fabian, Jonas, Goga, and Kanto Raketti, who, at this point, had cemented his spot on the team as a reliable spearhead guided by IGL Fabian, anchored by
Dang.
Pengu, with
Bro,
lurking from Jonas,
Fabian's so
and
tough,
Goga's
bro.
insatiable hunger for diffusers.
Yeah.
With the major complete,
Pengu's
teams
tough, too.
went back to the second half
Fabian's
of the Pro
tough,
League
though.
season, focused on gaining their spots for Six Invitational 2019. And
2019, okay.
with a similar system to the Paris Major qualification, SI19 spots were split between Pro League, Open Qualifiers, and minor events. The first of those minor events was DreamHack Montreal in September. I'm going to keep this one short. NA teams at an NA event, big surprise. Brazil was kicked out in groups, and Millennium was prevented from repeating the fiasco at Austin in the semifinals.
Yo, shout out Millennium, though.
Cloud9
That was actually
eventually
tough.
take the win versus Rogue. A great series and a great story, now with the lines blurring between the top teams in NA. Cloud9 as an organization joining Siege was huge news. They picked up
I'm
the
pretty
old
sure they're
East Coast
huge.
roster earlier in 2018 and
Beast Coast
had
found their
a
way
huge
back,
fan
though.
base,
Now they're gone.
given the personalities of Laxing, Foxay, Retro, Mark the Shark, and above all, Goddess. Now, I want to talk about an important subject. Now,
They have women in Pro League? That's no diss. That was not okay. That came out maybe a little dissy, but like, I didn't know that was a thing. I have never seen a girl on a Pro League team like
that I
that.
mentioned Goddess. Over the years, Siege saw more and more women in player and coach positions. Goddess was a forerunner, and so was now legendary coach Lilun. Luna, or Loon 4, Marmalade, and many more had played in open tournaments, women's tournaments, and most notably,
They have women's
Brazil's
tournaments?
unique women's circuit, Circuito Feminino. Sadly,
that's
there was a
tough.
lot of animosity leveled against women who not
Yeah.
only showed that they could compete,
I
but
could see
thrive
that,
when they weren't being
definitely.
screamed at in sexist tirades, be it in a ranked game or even in a tournament. It's a shame that this was and still continues to be a reality for many women in games.
So what? Like, just because of that, now they just can't play? That kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie. That does kind of suck a little bit, or not a little bit. That sucks a lot. Cause I've seen like coaches for sure, like women coaches, but I never knew players played like that, or like women players played. You know what I mean? But like, if they're good enough, you know what I mean. Like, you can't be dissing on them, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they're good enough, bro, and they're cooking you, like. This is what it is.
These
bro.
sorts of actions are a clear violation of the mission statement of any tournament, and Ubisoft has been very clear with their anti-harassment actions taken against bigoted players on a day-to-day basis. With all the progress being made on this front, one thing I personally find lacking is an expansion of the women's circuit into a global format for Rainbow Six. Valorant Game Changers is a wonderful example of how important and necessary this is.
Shout out
But like I
Kaide, bro.
said,
Him, I
Brazil
like Kaide.
Secreto Feminino had done it first since July 2018. We have the infrastructure. We can do better.
The only thing is it's like, yeah, that would work as long as it just brings in a profit. You know what I mean? Because the difference between that, because you like see that where it's like they have like a men league and then like a male league and like a lot of things. And like the big thing that I can think of is like the NBA, WNBA. But like the big thing is like NBA turns a huge profit. WNBA doesn't turn that big of a profit. You know what I mean? So I think it's just all about like money wise. And I think that's why like they shut down like Console Pro League, because just money. So.
Pro League Season 8 was about to reach its climax. A big surprise for this event came in Market Esports,
This dude just died to a
under veteran
fucking
KS, snatched the second place EU spot to become
What
the
is this
first
tag?
German-speaking squad
Oh my
to
God,
compete
he's
at the Pro League
spawn peeking
final.
with
Despite
the
this, FaZe
old
Clan's experience was a massive edge for the Brazilians. Count how many times I'm going to say this throughout this video.
Wow.
Who are now playing with the legendary cameraman on their squad. And netted them
cameraman
a
stuff.
quarterfinals win.
He's a
Under
coach now.
Cyber, Immortals had also
Oh my.
surprised everyone by pushing current champions, Team Liquid, out of qualifying for the Season 8 finals, proving once more that you cannot rest on your laurels for long, even in Brazil. Rogue had gone in with high hopes, but Waka proved to be too much of a threat to handle, and after an incredible coastline, Norarengo had become the first ever APAC team to play
Bro,
in the
Norarengo
semifinals.
is
They
so
wouldn't be the
tough,
only ones,
bro.
however. Fnatic had
Oh.
been forced to play with their coach Dizzle rather than their IGL mag due to a medical emergency. Of course, they blow to any team's hopes of victory, even with Dizzle having
Dang.
competed on Xbox at the very first Invitational. That was a while ago though.
Bang. Oh my
And
God, this dude's
somehow,
cooking.
a side effect of this is Fnatic no longer having any pressure from expectations. Definitely not the case for Evil Geniuses, however,
Bro,
who
Evil
have
Genius.
faced one heartbreaking loss after the other. For
Bro,
them,
oh my
something had
God,
to
dude.
change. Luckily for EG though, they were put up
Oh.
against Fnatic in the quarterfinals. And yet,
no.
somehow, with Diz God's
Yo, like, Evil Genius is dead. Like, they're actually pissing me off, bro. What am I watching, bro? What is Canadians the GOAT? This y'all GOAT? He can't win shit. He can't win shit, bro. Loses big game after big game after big game, bro. He's a choker. He's a choker.
Intervention
Get out of my
and an
face,
incredible
Canadian.
run out from Aces on Oregon, Fnatic shut the stress and just
like,
played for the
He's got a lot. Like, they gotta lock in, bro. Like, at some point, they're gonna win some. You know what I mean? Like, you just, if you get to the finish line so many times, bro, there's gonna be one of these. You know, one of the times you're gonna push through, bro.
one of
Lock
it,
in, EG.
confusing EG into a loss. Despite both APAC squads being eliminated in the semifinals, the
G2
progress
running
made
shit,
here was
of
massive
course.
for the region, which
4-0.
picked up steam and was filled with hope for the future. A FaZe G2 final pits giants of their own regions against one another. Mav and Fabian are known for their leadership and calm under fire. Mav had actually played alongside people like Julio and 9XT for many years, even prior to Siege, but he had yet to lift a trophy, let alone in his home nation. So imagine this. You're finally on stage, surrounded by 10,000 fans, all cheering your name, wearing your colors. The biggest arena Siege has ever had to this day. You're hopeful,
To the day?
but you're also under a lot of pressure. The story goes that FaZe messed up their map ban phase and accidentally picked
Yep,
maps
G2 won,
were
bro. I
much more
can already
prepared on.
tell from
Coastline
that.
was barely touched by the entire Brazilian region, and with operator bans, Lion was yeeted out of the equation on Bank. It was an odd set of events, one that no doubt impacted FaZe's performance as slowly but surely during the series, G2 tallied the rounds and
Yeah, I
had completed
mean-
the final obstacle course of 2018.
Yo,
They
someone's
had
gotta shut
avenged the
them
loss in
down, bro.
Atlantic City and were once more Pro League champions.
So they still have Pro League champ thing like this, even though they had the major. So like this was like the second major. Am I an idiot?
Thankfully, the pre-SI offseason would be full of national tournament finals and Challenger League. So let's talk about those for a moment. If you recall earlier, since Siege's day one, national tournaments have been incredibly important. To further that truth, Ubisoft had enshrined the idea by promoting national tournaments all over the world. France, Germany, UK and Ireland,
Bang.
Thailand, Japan, Australia, New
international,
Zealand,
bro.
Middle East, North Africa, the US, Canada,
North
Brazil,
Africa.
Mexico, so many more
Dang.
were all represented in a system that would eventually
W
give the winners
Ubisoft,
in the
bro.
Pro Circuit regions spots in Challenger League and other tournaments. It also meant that individuals that excelled in these tournaments would find themselves quickly rising the ranks into Challenger and even directly into Pro League teams. Obviously, the more nations you had in an area, the more national tournaments you had in a region. But
makes
that wasn't
sense.
always the case. It's
Oh,
true that,
what?
be it Siege or any other esport, national tournaments can be very
Oh, Milos?
Eurocentric. Regardless, US Nationals were a
Milos,
unique tournament, since the format was heavily inspired by US sports' East and West conferences, with weekly matches leading up to the most America-themed event you can imagine. The first edition of USN had Rogue beat EG for the win. Some welcome redemption for
Talk
Rogue at
EG.
this point. Challenger League also played a much bigger role in those days, since each Pro League season came with a Challenger League season that was played simultaneously as an actual weekly league, meaning that organizations had some exposure incentive to be part of the ecosystem. Also keeping in mind that Pro League relegations had the lowest rated squad eliminated for the upcoming season automatically.
What
with the
is
7th
this
place
guy
Pro League
cooking?
team
Who's
needing to
that
defend their
Falco,
spot
bro?
versus the 2nd place Challenger League squad for the next Pro League
Oh
season.
my god, like, look at
In
how fast
season
you
8,
lean,
a
bro.
certain Team Empire showed up as a blip
I've heard
on
of
the
Team
radar,
Empire.
a blip so present it overshadowed every other team in Challenger League. They had also been crowned the #1 team in the Russian Major League and first at the ESL Eurocup versus the top national teams in Europe. Something was being cooked up here.
Wait,
Anyways,
let
the
him
final
cook,
event
bro.
closed the
Let Team
2018
Empire
season,
cook.
and the last event spot for SI19. As almost exclusively EU teams flocked to Sweden for DreamHack Winter, a few surprises popped up. The Dutch Trust Gaming beat Team Liquid in the tournament's opening game, and despite quick elimination, fan favorites Mini Golfgutta were the talk of the town. More faces
What?
from Modern
That's
Siege
the
are
best.
seen here.
That's
M&M
image.
Gaming
Ooh,
went
Shepard,
into
I
the
know
BYOC
Shepard.
section with Nello, Fonkers, and of course Doki. Chaos Esports.
Doki! Bro, Doki's so tough.
Section with Nello, Fonkers, and of course Doki.
Bro, if you guys don't know Doki, bro, lock into Doki, bro. He is so tough. He's so tough. He's gonna be playing at this major, bro. Lock in. He's on G2. You can see in the picture. But yeah, Doki is tough. I love Doki. I love Alamau too. Both of them. They're so cool. I love them both. I wish them the best of luck.
Chaos
in every
Esports,
future
the
endeavor.
well-known Dota 2 organization, also kept flying under everyone's radar, be it at minor events or in EU Pro League, just cruising. Space Station held 4th place after losing to Team Empire, with G2 defeating Penta. Yeah. And since G2 had already qualified for
Yo,
SI19, Penta Sports, led by Panix,
Damn.
had broken incredible ground. With 2018 wrapping up and the January qualifiers underway, everyone geared up for SI19. Things were even more exciting, with Ubisoft introducing the Road to SI in-game event with tailored operator and weapon
You gotta do this stuff, bro. They gotta do this stuff more, bro. Like, seriously. And I'm not just saying that to, like, push Pro League, but, like, also to push Pro League. And, like, these skins are cool, bro. Skins are cool. Like, now all you get for, like, SI and shit is, like, the winner gets, like, a dumb, ugly bundle in the shop for, like, $15. All I'm saying. Bring stuff like this back. Especially the map, bro.
and cosmetics.
Maybe not the map.
Personally, my
new map,
favorite
but,
Siege
like,
artwork and
wait,
a
that's
pro
hard.
settings mode with the game and map pool used in Pro League.
Bro, like, that's
this format will
cool.
also grow for SI 2020, 21, and 22 by adding a new map, Stadium.
Bro, like, they didn't even do it 23, 24, and now they didn't even do it 25. What are we doing, Ubisoft?
And a reworked version of it
What are we
with
doing?
all operators available to play during the event, even those who do not own.
Like, that's
Great effort
valid,
in
bro.
trying to bridge the gap between the casual and competitive
Bro,
communities.
see?
Even more so that the in-game purchases actually added to the Invitational's price pool to a limit.
Why do they not do this? Why are we not doing this anymore, Ubisoft? What am I, like, what? Are we serious? Bro, like, imagine how much, like, if you had this stuff in-game now, you know what I mean? Especially when Siege was, like, blowing up again with, like, Jinxie and that. Bro, I know he watched some of it, like, the Invitational and stuff like that, but, bro, that would be massive. It could,
And Overflow
it could be
used
way
to
bigger.
fund future tournaments. One more nod to Dota 2's International. Siege
bro,
hadn't had
Dota
the
2
same
the
venue
blueprint.
treatment it did in Brazil outside of it. The Olympic Jeunesse Arena is huge, but if anything, it proved that Siege could pull in more attendees than anyone had expected until then.
Dang.
And so, with
Dang.
the power of foresight, the Invitational team had rented out Montreal's second largest arena, the Laval Rockets Place Belle, aka the hometown ice hockey heroes, the Canadiens farm team. Once more in the dead of winter, Montreal was packed with staff, players, devs, and 3,500 fans. Through the group stage, teams and matches looked quite even. Even APAC managed to send 2 teams to quarterfinals, Fnatic and Norengo, 2 incredibly charismatic squads. NA came out on top with 3 out of 8 teams, and NA's finest in Evil Geniuses, Space Station Gaming, who had burst onto the
Oh my, Evil Genius and NA's finest in the same sentence, bro. Dude, they need to win some, bro. Like they
scene with
they
Victor
need to win
Bosco
some.
and Reciprocity, having picked up
I've never heard
the
of that.
Cloud9 roster, with the organization now eyeing up Korea. EU had only 2 teams despite joining SI19 with 5 in total. Reigning world champions G2 had come back to defend the title,
What, G2
flanked
just
by
wins, I'm
Team
assuming?
Empire, who were looking for a
Team
taste
Empire.
of glory after their first place runs in 2018's smaller tournaments. And finally, LATAM pinned all of its hopes on Team Liquid, who only just made it past Market in groups. Unfortunately for Liquid, the Invitational Trophy would evade them in Montreal, being knocked out in a close match
Empire.
versus Empire. Fnatic may have lost versus Norengo, but the win was for the APAC region as a whole.
Yeah, bro.
This win and
Norengo's
progress
so
into the
tough.
semifinals
Oh my! Wait, look at the
for the
coach.
APAC region.
Look
as a
at
whole.
look at how this dude's
This win
stepping.
and progress
Look,
into the
hey,
semifinals.
come on, wait, bro. Like if I'm a player and my coach is like that, on God, I'm giving it my all. On God, I'm being locked in. Like I'm not going negative, bro. I'm getting double digits every game within the first 6 rounds.
Finals
Easy.
being a landmark victory for the region once more.
W.
After the loss at US Nationals, EG started looking shaky in big games.
Oh
This
my
was the
God.
case here against
Looking shaky in big game. They always look shaky in big games.
Reciprocity. And now, twice were EG wounded by an NA squad, and their spot on the podium taken away. The most stripped out team in
Chalk
the world,
EG.
Reciprocity, had made it to the semifinals. Continuing their undefeated streak versus NA, G2 took on Space Station. SSG were widely considered the best at Clubhouse, but winning the one map in Max OT didn't protect them from G2 reversing the score
Yeah, bro.
and putting a second
Nah,
EU team in the semis. And to the
Anytime
chagrin of
G2 is in
fans,
anything, I'm
Norengo
just...
were knocked out by Empire, with G2
Damn.
also
Oh,
making
Shepherd.
short work of Reciprocity.
Yeah, I
An
mean,
all-EU grand final, with the defending champions
wait.
facing the biggest rising stars yet to
Yeah,
taste the pressures
wait.
of Pro League. Count me in.
Okay, bro. I'm
This
just
best of
assuming
5 grand
G2
final
wins this,
was
though.
also the first BO5 played with infinite overtime active on each
Infinite
map.
overtime?
Infinite OT had yet to be tested in a live environment, but god damn that it
Oh
delivered.
my god, that's oh my god, what is this
Infinite
guy's
OT
name?
had yet to be tested in a live
Wait,
environment.
who's this guy? Joystick, I think. I think he's on Virtus Pro, and Shepard's on Virtus Pro. Is this just the old Virtus Pro roster? I don't know.
But god damn that it delivered. If you looked at the match's
Infinite
Wikipedia
OT.
page, the score would be deceptive. Map 1 Coastline would become the longest map in the history of Siege, with 22 rounds played. More than
22 rounds. Are you serious? 22 rounds. Bro, a 9-round ranked game. OT, double OT, 4-4. 9 rounds. Literally takes like 45 minutes to an hour. So you're telling me this took like 2 hours? Oh, hell no. What?
than double the average total map score.
Wow, imagine playing
G2's
that
12
and
to 10
losing.
win on Coastline was hard fought to say the least.
Yeah,
and
bro.
despite Empire's best efforts on Border, the less
Bang,
experienced staff
dude, I
suffered
mean, it's
extreme
just, bro.
exhaustion and were outlasted by G2,
Oh my
who
god,
cashed it in on bank with a
7-1
resounding
on
7-1.
the
At
3-0.
3-0, they had done it.
Wow,
G2 was the first squad to ever win 2 invitationals
that's insane,
and
bro.
back to back.
Bro,
They
G2
were
is
the
just too
undisputed
good, bro.
champions of the world.
Yeah, I mean,
The best team of individuals to ever touch Rainbow Six Siege.
yeah, I mean,
The one and only dynasty.
they're the goats, bro. What can I say, bro? I see why Pengu is the Age of Empire. Wait, is Empire about to tee up?
It's tough
Are they
to
about to
imagine an
dethrone?
act to follow up to the insanity of Six Invitational 2019,
True.
even when compared to the previous year. From having a 2-time SI champion to the longest match in Siege's history, we were honestly spoiled rotten. Europe was on a roll, APAC was climbing higher and higher up, Brazil was always a whiff away from finals, and NA was in absolute turmoil.
Yeah, bro,
Life
talk
was
NA.
Indeed in balance.
Bro, they literally call in Siege, they call NA nearest airport. Like they will just like the casters will just like they'll just like drop that, bro. Like I don't know if they say that in
G2
any
on
other
top.
ones,
It
but
looked like they would continue the win streak forever. It was cool to hate them now, since they just kept winning
yeah,
everything.
bro. Dynasty.
They became the
Chiefs,
villains of the scene,
Patriots.
infamous throughout esports. But as the story goes, there's always a bigger fish. And you can't rest on your laurels for long before someone else
Wait.
wants a piece of it. Remember the runners-up of SI19, Team Empire?
Shoot, wait,
Well,
let them cook.
The Cyborg had been activated.
Oh,
Joystick and the squad tore through Pro League Season 9 with only a G2-shaped speed bump in the form of a 6-6
still
tie,
beats them,
halting
bro.
a perfect win record. Also, series ties were a new addition to the best-of-1 league scoring system for a different sort of twist to the 14-play-day season that ran from January till April. It got so close at the top that G2 missed out on its first Pro League finals since the team was formed 2 years ago.
damn, bro. Wait,
With that surprise,
washed?
the notion sprang up among the NA base
They
that
washed?
he was just G2 and nothing more. That the Milan Pro League Season 9 finals would be the redemption NA had waited for. Arriving in Milan, Evil Geniuses broke Brazil's back versus Immortals and FaZe,
Pause.
setting up shop in the grand final, ready to take on any challenger. They were the rightful
Come on,
heirs
Evil
of NA's
Genius.
glory days after.
Bro, that's
And
me,
despite
bro.
Dark Zero and Fnatic's best efforts,
Dark
Team
Zero,
Empire
welcome.
surged past them to meet EG head-on in the final. And Evil Geniuses are
Dan!
full of
Yeah, this is definitely the Virtus Pro roster, bro. Dan, Shepard, Joystick.
confidence. They studied every detail about Empire. The Russians were known for rigidity,
Bro,
and
Dan
a
is
predictable
tough.
but well-practiced regime of play. You could even time their every move from one game to the next. EG took map 1, and now has the advantage on Oregon's attacking side, a massive step towards a full-blown victory. All they needed was a couple more rounds on defense. It was in the bag. Photographers surrounded Canadian to get the perfect money shot.
Thank
There's
God they're about to lose
absolutely
this,
no way
bro.
this can go wrong.
And here comes the tension. Here comes the push.
Oh my
Down on
god,
white stairs,
bro.
waiting for the vault on in is Canadian. Will he be able to secure the kill? He sees the Tracers go. No! Scyther will win the fight.
Ow.
He'll inch his way on up. Geo's going to be next in line, but this could be a tough shot, and Empire could wrestle away the round. There's Geo just waiting. He doesn't pull the trigger. He sees it. He pops up. Oh no, Geo, you...
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. How do you whiff that bad? This guy is a pro Rainbow Six Siege player. Oh my god, bro.
Gotta hit your shots! Yo will be the last one
Wow.
left. He was so important for FaZe. He turns his back. He's got the pistol, but Shepard will deny the comeback.
What are we
from EG in that
doing?
round. And the
Dude,
whole
see, like, they're just chokers, bro. Like, they need to lock in, bro. They're just not built for the big games,
the
bro.
Dreams will wait one more.
And that, my friends, was
And
the
they
tournament.
lost. Wow. They
Empire
didn't win
carried it
another
through
round.
Oregon
Wow.
And on Clubhouse, a map they were
Wow.
notoriously incredible at. They took down Evil Geniuses and dashed NA's hopes of recovering
Yeah,
the
bro.
championship.
Chalk
They
again.
proved that-
Literally again, chalk Evil Genius, bro. How are they so poverty in big games,
It wasn't
bro?
just G2. And then the talent pool Europe had created through many regional and national tournaments, whether
This is probably
community-driven
championship.
or explicitly supported by Ubisoft, was its key strength that would keep it
Come on,
competitive.
Dan. Come on, come on, Shep. Joystick. Let's go, guys.
I
G2 finally
neglected to
not winning
mention
some.
one player on purpose here. See, everyone knew Joystick on Empire, but the MVP in numbers, gameplay, and to Joystick himself even, was the team's new rookie, Dan.
Dan is so tough. Dan, do not even get me started. Dan is tough. You may be looking at him like, Austin, bro. Does he even have aura? Yes. Yes, he has aura. Look at him, bro. Dan. Shout out Dan, bro.
He was picked
Oh.
up mere days before the end of the regular Pro League season,
He's tough.
replacing Shockwave ahead of the offline finals, and was incredibly successful at this true baptism by fire. On the entry fragger role, he would be shadowed by Joystick, where both would wreak havoc on opponents by opening up a round and allowing Joystick to get into power positions, securing attacker round wins. Empire had it all figured out, and they were hungry for a bigger trophy, hungry for a bigger kill. The Cyborg
G2?
had the Raleigh Major, and the reigning world champions.
Oh, second major
G2.
of all time.
Though, before we get to Raleigh, let's take a pit stop at the minor events of summer 2019.
Yes,
2 events headlined the off-season: the Allied Esports Vegas Minor and DreamHack Valencia.
The minor.
Teams were absolutely locked in for these because a win not only gave you cash, but more importantly, a spot at the Raleigh Major. Understandably, every team that hadn't qualified yet signed up in
The
full
dab,
spirits.
no.
And the Allied Esports Minor took place in June and saw Team Secret take the major spot.
Dang.
Massive surprise. And the event overall showing a strong EU performance and readiness.
Bro, EU
All
runs
regions,
shit, bro.
With 3 of the top 4 coming from EU.
Yeah, bro, EU runs
A month later in
shit.
Valencia, it was the North American squad of Rogue that took the spot for Raleigh. A breath of fresh air for the region and tournament results as a whole, with DreamHack showing a good mix of performance from all regions except for APAC. I would note that Cloud9 from Korea was close to escaping the group stage, and the Japanese Fathers Back were a big surprise attendee since they're mostly made up of massive Japanese content creators. Unfortunately, their performance wasn't much to write home about. A final point is that the mostly francophone The Stream that came from Millennium after the organization unfortunately folded its esports operations saw itself orgless once more as LFO.
The Stream.
Thankfully, that situation didn't last
LeBron.
long, and
Welcome
they
to
were picked up by
esports.
Giants Gaming ahead of their participation in the Raleigh Major. So let's get to it. Much like the 6 major pairs
Where's
in
Raleigh?
2018, the big prize is not just the trophy and the money, but a one-way ticket to Sixth Invitational 2020 in Montreal. Space Station Gaming received a direct invitation to the major, being an American team at an American event, and in what seems odd to us now, Brazil only received 3 slots. Despite the regional team number split, only SSG, FaZe, and TSM made it out of groups, with 5
TSM.
EU squads
Bolo
made it in
here?
the quarterfinals.
Bolo
If
alive.
anything,
Has
it's
he
a massive
arrived yet?
heartbreak for teams like Rogue, Evil Geniuses, and Norengo to not make a deeper run at the major after impressive performances in the past year. Regardless, I remember the semifinals had me in
Evil
pure
Genius,
glee.
bro.
Look, I'm an EU fanboy through and through, if that wasn't already obvious. It's where I got
Oh
my start
God,
in
it
esports.
is.
So it was good to
Oh, that's
see
bad.
all 4 semifinalists from EU. Fours surprised everyone in Raleigh and showed great promise with Pasha as MVP. Even more that they
Pasha,
were
he's
still in
on
Challenger
Verse
League,
Pro now.
awaiting Season 10's relegations. Yeah, they were a CL team. That's how good the EU grassroots scene was. And seeing a happy Team Secret was infectious. A great story for the rising Fonkers and Pharaoh, pushing Team Empire to the limit. And here we are. The winners of the Milan Season 9 finals cut exactly what they wanted.
Okay, like look at this, right? Why, how does G2 just win like every game, bro? Like I don't think they've dropped a game not in the grand finals, bro.
And Joystick's dream game is upon them. They get to face G2 at their best and most prepared.
Ooh,
The
Uno.
newest Finnish addition to the squad brought even
What
more
up, Uno?
calm to the team. His role centered around a flex support with a heavy emphasis on callouts and clear comms. So much so that Pengu would describe him with, "When Uno dies, we know we're gonna get the best callouts from camps. He's better dead than..."
Yo, I'm moving my face cam. Look at this. Look at this. When Uno dies, we know we're gonna get the best calls from the cams. Like that's cool. He's a better dead than most players are alive. That is an insane thing to say, bro. This dude can only give callouts and he's better than Pro League players? Like I need to see this. Like I need to experience these callouts, bro.
than
I
most
need to
players
experience
are
these,
alive.
bro.
A G2 known for adaptability and constant evolution versus an Empire that repeated a pattern hundreds of times so well they became impossible to dislodge. Border gave Empire the lead, but only just, with their attacking side meshing well with an aggressive map at 7-5. Cafe passed the edge and hit overtime for an 8-6 win as G2 tied the series. Unfortunately for G2, they ran out of steam after Empire took Clubhouse on yet another overtime point. And, in a sick twist of fate, in some way, revenge for SI's coastline, it all ended on a one-sided coast.
G2.
From being a minor EU team to Challenger League winners, runners-up at SI, Pro League champions in Milan, and now, having flipped the script on G2, Team Empire were the Raleigh Major champions. An absolutely
G2, bro.
rise.
Damn. Wait, the dynasty falls. Dynasty falls. And the GOAT, though, so. That's valid.
I talked about Dan and Joystick in Milan, but here in Raleigh, it was open season for support players and receiving constant praise for their incredible in-game performance. Shepard showed that he could anchor like no one else can. He had supplanted Goga at being the best Goga in the world, the best Thermite money could buy. The fallout from Raleigh was massive. EU reigned supreme, but that can't stand anymore. The path needed to be laid again. After the storm from the roster shuffle died down, the time to test their results came in the form of DreamHack Montreal in September.
Do they still
the
have
last
these?
DreamHack event and the Pro Tour Siege would have. Being an NA event, most participating teams were from said region. You could, after all, sign up for free with a time advantage for Pro League and CL teams, but you had to pay for your trip, unlike how events like Majors and Pro League finals work. Despite this, there was one standout story. Remember that French guy Shaiko that still plays for BDS?
Editor's note. What does that say? Pengu reported Shaiko for using macros at a tournament in 2017 and received a 2-year ban from ESL events. And ESL hosts like every major event, I'm pretty sure. Wow. Was he actually cheating? I feel like he wouldn't cheat. Okay. I never knew that.
His ban period had expired in June.
Wait.
And despite failures in the major qualifier, we're about to see him play on LAN against G2.
Oh, wait.
Against Pengu.
Oh, wait.
They were drawn into the same group.
Wait.
Yeah, it was going to be hyped to hell and back.
Wait.
Though, G2 whacked BDS in the opening game. But in the decider match, BDS took it right back even harder.
Shit.
With Shaiko as their spearhead, BDS only bowed out in the semifinals versus the eventual winners TSM, and took third place by beating EG.
That's valid.
Yes,
EG can't win
Liquid and
shit,
TSM topped the bracket for Brazil and NA, but EU had a
Yo,
brand
that's
new challenger
Bolo!
on the horizon in BDS, and just like Fours, they weren't even a Pro League team.
Wait, that's valid, bro.
Regardless,
Shaiko has aura.
TSM had the win. They were going to SI 2020.
Yo, Pengu, low-key, like, that's low-key weird, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. That's no aura. You get a guy banned that I don't even know if he was banned. I have no context, but if he was actually cheating. But, like, you get the guy banned and then you just get bitched by them, like...
And the prodigy that is Bolo,
aura.
the streamer and content creator
Bolo,
that had just
what up,
turned
twin?
18, led a shining
Bro,
way
he
forward
just
for NA.
turned 18. How old is he? What, so he's like 24, 25? Seems like the right math. 24, 25. Paula on Liquid now? Okay. 2.
As MVP of the event. Small tidbit here.
Bolo.
Bolo had signed with TSM on June 16th, 2019, 3 days before officially turning 18 on June 19th. Bonus points for those listening that can guess on what team Bolo played when he was a minor, and what event they played at. Leave it down below in the comments.
No idea. Couldn't
It was
tell
time
you.
for
Gun to
season
the back
10.
of my head.
Look, when an esports event is announced to be in Japan, everyone
Down to
and their
down
mother
reference right
wants
there.
to qualify to go for that reason alone. Tokonami is a cute little pottery town with a massive airport island connecting Nagoya to the world. Who would have thought that that said island would house an enormous convention center?
What up,
whose
Macy
building
J
was
again,
completed
bro?
a couple weeks prior to the event.
Dude's been
The
going
theme
to
was
all
fresh,
these.
new, hip, and even the new convention center radiated it. I rizzed up so many teams from every single region coming out of Season 9.
Raised up so
but
many
what if I
teams.
told
Okay,
you
bro.
that absolutely none of them would qualify to the Season 10 finals? Well,
Chills.
G2 and Empire flunked the course to Challenger League newcomers Navi in Giants Gaming's ex-Le Stream pickup. In NA, Dark Zero finally pulled it together during an important game and went along with Team Reciprocity that had also sobered up and clinched the spot over EG despite being tied in points, all through winning the head-to-head points matchup. LATAM sent forth FaZe Clan for another finals run after their
Liquid.
harrowing match versus G2 in Brazil, and Ninjas of Pajamas, who, unfortunately due to visa issues, had to fly in 2 Spanish CL players that made it to Tokoname only a few hours before their match kicked off. And finally, APAC brought up 2 incredibly promising lineups in Wildcard, true fresh blood in the ANZ scene, and Aerowolf, fielding what would be considered at the time the best players in Singapore.
Oh,
Like I said,
Singapore?
this
Where's
event was
Singapore?
mostly a clean slate.
Oh, bad
with rookies
aim.
and
Bad
newcomers
aim,
sticking
bro.
it to the old guard. With
Dang.
everyone stacked up in Tokoname and ready to play, any ideas of tourism around Japan had to leave your head immediately. Your home during the event is the practice room and the stage. Discipline is key with so many young talents in the mix. FaZe gave Dark Zero a hell of a run for their money, but NA had figured out the
Cole, bro,
recipe
he plays.
to beating
He's
Brazil
still
by
in the
now.
league today.
And despite
bro.
being 2 players down, NIP still put immense pressure on Reciprocity, who got the win,
Damn.
but in doing so, revealed their weaknesses.
Ah, damn.
At this event, the meme of forever quarterfinalists would hang over Giants' head as Airwolf had immense backing from the
Forever
crowd.
quarterfinalists.
And with that,
wow.
moved on to the semis versus Dark Zero, where again, NA team took charge and had a
come
spot
on.
in the grand finals for the
Come on,
first
NA.
time. This was a massive achievement. Dark Zero's doubters were many since they repeatedly lost their hunger when the stakes were highest. On the other side
Evil
of the bracket,
genius.
Wildcard almost pulled a surprise win, but Navi stabilized. In my mind, this was probably the best play of the entire event. Yeah, you know the one.
Waiting the approach for Nello.
I know he's
No
seen
utility
this.
left. Diffuser in hand in a 1v3 in the midst of a
aim.
crossfire. Gets one on Diffuser.
Good aim. Oh my god.
On Everett. Are you kidding me?
Oh my god. Look at this flick, bruh.
Utility left.
Rewind,
Diffuser in hand
rewind.
in a 1v3 in the
Look at
midst
this
of a
flick.
crossfire. Gets one on Diffuser.
Bang, like, damn. Alright, that's tough. That's tough. That is tough. That's tough, bro. Like, that says something.
Reciprocity cut it close in the semis, but the win slipped away from their hands. Navi somehow kept coming back and showed incredible tenacity. The All-American Dark Zero had one more task ahead of them: win one game and bring
Is that
NA's
Citizen?
legacy back. Bring it finally.
Oh my god, that is
Back
Citizen.
Unfortunately for NA, the plucky little Navi
Yeah, bro. Talk.
weren't
talk
looking
on,
to
bro.
back down from a fight. They've always had to fight against the odds. What's one more game?
Bro, was that Mint
High
on
stakes.
DZ?
That's
Isn't he
time
the
when Dark Zero
coach?
falters. That's
Kendrew?
exactly what happened.
Bro, he's on
Navi
Into the Breach.
pulled a story not too dissimilar to Team Empire. From UK and Ireland Nationals to Challenger League to EU Pro League and Season 10 champions. The lads had walked the golden road that Empire trotted along less than a year prior.
Yo, why does NA suck,
Nello and
bro?
Citizen emerged as highlight players from Tokonami.
Yeah, Citizen
Nello
suck.
for his calm, collected demeanor, not unlike the legend Shate, and Citizen for being a spearhead that could win any gunfight. One more player to note here is Doki, or the lack of Doki at this event, despite being on the Navi roster. Well, our Scottish friend got into a wee bit of trouble just before the season finals with a ban for in-game toxicity. The sentence he served from
Dude got banned for toxicity. Are we serious?
home, watching his teammates lift the trophy in Japan.
What?
And 2019 was wrapping up quickly, and SI 2020 was nearing. With so many big name teams having missed the Tokonami finals, many of them had to roll up to the last event in the global esports calendar in the hopes of grabbing the first place SI 20 spot, bypassing the coin toss ordeal that is the
Oh my God,
SI Open
Virtue.
qualifiers. Probably
Bro, because now we're getting to the time where like a lot of the players that play now are like getting into it and like stuff like that. So I'm probably gonna be calling out people.
the biggest announcement leading up to the event was Space Station Gaming picking up NA legend Canadian. A man reported as being
Canadian.
old as shit.
Bro, Canadian does not win shit. Maybe it's his team, so maybe like Space Station's gonna lock in now. Maybe.
But still good with a UFP.
I don't know. We'll see.
Aside from that,
Yeah,
Goga
bro,
had
he
left
always
the
be on
G2
pulse.
squad and was replaced by German up-and-comer Kryan, who had impressed through his
Never heard of
performance
him.
under Mocket Esports and later Oraclus. At this point, you might be surprised to know that G2 were not qualified for the next invitation.
Damn.
And with 2020 coming out fast, there was only a handful of ways left to make it to Montreal. First up was the OGA Pit Season 3 Finals. Now, I neglected to mention the OGA series earlier, since there were so many national and unofficial events and tournaments that this video would easily double in size trying to fit them in. In any case, OGA, the Croatian tournament organizer, mostly known for its broadcasts in Dota 2, had been running online tournaments for different regions, attracting all levels of teams to compete for extra cash, practice, and glory.
Bro,
Now, they
got
had
the L
partnered with
sitting.
Ubisoft at this point to put together an officially sanctioned tournament for a spot at SI20. Pretty hefty prize. And actually, G2 wasn't the only heavy hitter not set for SI20 yet. Liquid, Norengo, and Space Station, who all had been
BDS
present
is
the
in
year
this.
prior, still needed a spot.
Damn,
Despite
there's a lot of
Liquid
heavy
winning the
hitters in
SI spot in
this.
Split, Space Station Gaming and MIBR's performance was so good that they couldn't be ignored for serious contenders at SI should things go their way in the regional last chance qualifiers in January.
Spider-Man jerseys. That's aura. The Gilded Age. What does that even mean? Gilded?
With nationals wrapped up, SI 2020 LCQs chewed and spat out hundreds of teams. Left standing were, big surprise, Space Station Gaming, MIBR,
Oh, they finally have,
BDS.
bro. They finally have the new logo, bro. Oh my god, that
And
old one
Fnatic.
was so bad.
They joined the
Ew,
11
what
other
is it?
teams
What's
that had
the Fnatic
qualified
one?
through Pro League, Minors, and the Raleigh Major. I'm not great at maths, but we're still short a team for 16. Lo and behold, the one team invited to the Invitational is none other than former world champions, G2 Esports.
Yeah, but that's valid, cause like, bro, they just run shit. You know what I mean?
Now having become akin to the sick man of Europe after a pretty disappointing year.
Oh
This
damn.
was also the first major tournament with a double elimination bracket, meaning that you'd have to lose twice in the playoffs bracket to be knocked out.
That's valid, bro.
Something
More
Siege
Siege.
fans weren't used to at this point.
That's valid though,
LATAM
cause
actually
you
kicked
get to
off
watch
the
more.
weak start to the tournament. Only Ninjas Pajamas and MIBR had made it past the group stage, and they were quickly kicked down to the lower bracket.
Bro, the game's starting to look better, bro.
Scouts quickly took over the
It's starting
conversation
to look
around
better.
Brazil's chances here. G2 stumbled against Fnatic, a massive upset, and in my opinion, the nail in the coffin of the prideful G2 roster. TSM, on the other
Damn.
hand, had improved massively since their DreamHack Montreal win. Geometrics and Pojaman kept their roster cool.
Bro, G2's washed, bro. G2's dead ass washed. Like, they're dead ass washed, bro. Damn. Damn, bro. What team is this? TSM? This is Bolo?
Under fire. Bolo kept swinging. Achieved was a rock hard flex, and Merc, in my mind, was the best Maverick player at this point. In that time, Maverick didn't have as many canisters as nowadays, and mastering his Suri Torch took lots of time and skill most players,
It's
even at this
valid.
level, didn't put in. The other 2-8 teams in the upper bracket, Dark Zero and Space Station, had also succeeded in their games versus BDS and MIBR.
Wait, so is Evil Genius even a thing anymore? Because Canadian's gone? Or, like, did he just leave the team?
respectively. But going up against one another, it was
Glacier.
SSG that won out. Let's just say that
Mm.
Canadians' attitude during games is such a sight to behold. I can't even
Yeah, bro,
imagine what
he's
it's like to play
insane,
by
bro.
his
He be
side
talking
and
hella
just
shit.
Embrace that energy.
But that's
It's
valid, though. It's
absolutely
valid,
addictive.
though.
You're playing Twitch, Gio! You're playing Twitch!
Up next, we got a hell of a nail
Nice.
biter. TSM faced
Oh,
SSG in
wait.
front of an NA crowd, so you bet there were many "Let's go X Team" chants, baby. The series operator bands alone were a cornucopia of selection, with both squads constantly adapting to one another round after the next. It genuinely felt like we already had a grand final game in the semis.
That's valid,
SSG's
actually.
experience was the real upper hand, however.
Yeah, they probably
and
win
with
it.
that, they were all set for the grand final.
Oh, shit.
In
SSG in
lower
the
bracket, however,
finals.
there was a little rumble. NIP, the squad that kept getting knocked out and dealt
Oh, is this
bad hand
is
after
this
the
Julio's
next,
team?
had somehow carved their way through G2, Dark Zero, BDS,
Wait.
and even TSM.
Wait, let
To
'em
say that the
cook.
comeback energy was behind the Brazilian
Julio.
squad is an understatement. Back to the tournament format once more. SI20 wasn't only a double elimination bracket format, but also gave the upper bracket finalist a free map win. This was pretty controversial.
What? A free map? Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Actually, what?
Controversial, given that the lower
What?
bracket squad had also played a full best of 3 series only a couple hours prior to the final.
Yeah,
So,
what?
SSG walk into the final with a 1 map advantage, all fresh. But NIP had warmed up with a worthy opponent in TSM, and
I mean, that's kind of valid, I guess, like, in a sense, because if you really think about it, like, they have the 1-0 and they haven't played recently, but then the other team is down 1-0, but they just played. So I guess that's like a little bit. So it's like a get right game, but like still, I feel like that shouldn't be a thing. Oh my God, they have Fultz. Fultz is on this team for SSG, bro. Shout out Fultz. I really like Fultz. He's really cool. I really like the whole SSG roster.
Immediately proceed to take Villa and Border
Like
for
now.
a 1-2 score. SSG were on the back ropes here
Oh, shit.
and had to rely on their best map
2-1,
Clubhouse,
bro.
for a win. And let me tell you how absolutely incredible SSG were on Clubhouse.
Oh, shit.
The mute, mossy Clubhouse roam SSG had pioneered made them untouchable on the map with a multi-month win streak. And despite NIP's newcomer Pino hitting some of the nuttiest SMG 11 shots, SSG took their beloved map. This seemed to have a big impact on NIP's psyche. The squad looked distraught, and the exhaustion finally ate at them on bank.
Towards Archives and get
Damn. Wait, SSG won? Wait, this is NA.
Space Station
Wait,
Gaming.
NA stand up. NA stand up. Wait, and Canadians, bro. Canadian beats the allegations, bro. It wasn't Canadian. It was Evil Genius.
Space Station
Wow.
Gaming, who found their footing in 2019, had
That's
won the
valid,
biggest prize of them all. Canadian now held their repeat World Championship title. And much to the chagrin of EU shows like me,
Valid,
NA was
bro.
back on top.
Clap.
God damn, were they good. And not
Claps
to
for
worry,
NA.
NIP had gotten close, but they weren't about to give up. This was the final stretch, however, with Ubisoft announcing FACEIT as the next tournament organizer and a complete overhaul to the esports program starting in June. Siege had had its best year, an insane amount of tournaments on every scale, and every region had a challenger to the throne. We were on top of the world.
Oh, this is 2020. This is COVID, no? Yeah, Great Depression. This could be COVID. Damn. Because you can't hold the LAN events. So what'd they even do? Oh my God. This music is getting me hard. Is this some Maru season music? This cutscene's valid, bro.
From the point of view of someone who was there, in the middle of it all, I consider being on stage at SI 2020, lights flooding the arena, chants shaking the stands, and
Yo,
new
'cause you had, like, new
directions
people,
identity as a
too, like,
game
playing in the
and as an
chat.
esport is a highlight of my career and the early modern era as a whole. From nationals to regionals to Challenger League meaning something, minors, Pro League, majors, SI, you always had something to look forward to in the circuit that led to the next big event. eStudio Show, an event felt like a link in the chain.
Studio show.
The incredible happiness and glee we felt that February cannot be described.
Glee. I haven't used someone
With
say,
FACEIT
heard
taking
someone say
over
Glee.
a more proprietary vision for Ubisoft, it was all about saying goodbye to the incredible workers at ESL that fell more and more in
Damn.
love with the game as the years went by. I learned a lot thanks to them, and I'm happy to say
Shout out
that whenever I'm
ESL,
with
bro.
them,
Shout out
it feels like a
ESL.
massive family
Put them in the
reunion.
chats. Put them in the comments.
To you,
bro.
my Polish, Swedish, German, etc., all over the world
NA or-
friends at ESL,
Oh wait, this.
you know yourselves.
I thought this
Thank
was
you so
talking to
much
me, bro.
for all your work and for your friendship.
Shout out
This era
ESL,
was
bro.
set
Shout
to
out.
end with season
Shouts.
11 of Pro League, with finals held in Sao Paulo, Brazil, a city in a nation that loves Siege like almost no other. At the time, I lived in Poland, one of the first European countries
Taking
to
the
shut
walk.
down events and airports in early March. Having just returned from SI, hearing that IEM Katowice, the event my colleagues spent months preparing and executing, was cancelled by the regional governor, is a clear sign that offline events will be out of the question for a while. And so, we closed out season 11 casting from home, each one of us in a different country, with hastily put together remote setups, being as quiet as possible as to not wake up the neighbors at 4 a.m. on a school night during lockdown.
Chills.
Matches this season were generally alright, but teams didn't play their hearts out for what I feel are many reasons. From the season having no finals, to a split prize pool,
No
and the general
finals?
deterioration
What?
of people's mental health in this time, nobody had a clue what we were in for and for how long we'll have to keep it up. The focus was clear. The show must go on.
Oh,
And now
damn.
more than ever, with media and entertainment being for many an important thread of sanity in a world whose image has just shattered. Cue Face It. The new tournament organizer
Face It,
started
Face
with a
It.
couple of special
I know I've heard of Face It from like top console guys and stuff, but I don't really know what Face It is. I just know it's like a tournament. That's
Special
all I
charity
know.
events.
And then you get like the gold cup if you won Face It, I think.
filling in until the start of the new league system. European Open Clash, which pit Pro League and national teams against one another, saw an impressive Virtus Pro, led by Pasha, rise to the top, having worked on their team cohesion and discipline
Dang.
from their days as fours in Raleigh. Another event was Rainbow Six Classics.
Wait, is Empire
cool.
gone at this time? Or does Virtus Pro take the Empire roster? That's probably what happens because Pasha's already
the
there.
year,
Okay.
building up on the most nostalgic games of CG
Oh,
sports.
that makes sense.
It brought
that
together
makes
old
sense.
rosters that hadn't played together in ages, and gave us rematches like OG Penta versus ENCE, the two regional rivals in EU, and Norengo versus Fnatic in APAC.
Orarengo.
These two official events, alongside other charity events like Gamers Without Borders, were a great warm-up for the main course, the new league system. Alright, let's break down what changed, especially since the basic
What
structure
is this? Is this a
survives
new
to this
league?
day, although with quite a few differences. We'll talk
Okay.
about that later. The global regions remain the same as before, with
Bang.
EU, NA, LATAM, and APAC. And the competitive season would now be an entire year, from the end of an SI until the end of the next one. With 3 stages, each culminating in a major international event in May, August, and November.
Oh, so
Obviously,
so
these
this is where they start like the 2 major thing, and this is where they're gonna get rid of like the like all pro, or what was it, the pro league, whatever, the one thing that they did always before the major.
events would be paused during lockdowns to be replaced by regional finals. Each stage and major would dole out SI points. The top 16 teams globally in the amount of
Oh, and then
points in the bank
this is the
would
SI
qualify
system
to SI,
now.
with 4 more joining each region's qualifier.
Okay.
Speaking of regions, the biggest change was the addition of subregions. EU would remain one, but NA would see the formation of the US and Canada divisions, 2 sister divisions, with, be honest, one being a bit more loved than the other, qualifying teams into stage finals. LATAM would be split into
Okay.
3, Brazil, Mexico, and South America for all other nations in the region.
Dang.
Top regional teams compete in Copa Elite 6 for SI points and for spots at the upcoming
I
major.
don't think this is a thing now.
And finally, APAC would be split in half, North and South. The North encompassing Japan, Korea, Southeast Asia, and Taiwan,
Shout out
and South
Japan,
with
bro.
Australia, New Zealand, and for
Bro,
the 1st
I'm trying to
time
go to
ever,
Japan, bro.
the Indian subcontinent in the South Asian Nationals. Loads of technical stuff to unpack
Oh,
here, I
G2.
know, but
Uno.
this was a pretty important step towards opening up the global esports circuit to more and more underrepresented regions. On a gameplay front, a strict 20-second meta dominated the airwaves, even more so with Wamai and Malusi joining the
Oh
Defender
my
roster.
god, here we are.
Games would
I'm
sometimes
Malusi.
slow down until those final seconds as team looked overly cautious. Subregions, APAC North especially, Finka saw lots of play as her LMG and grenades could open up a site and help pinch in no time. Prime real estate in this meta.
It's so
With planned offline majors being turned into regional stage finals, it's
I know
online that
I know I'm yawning a lot. It's literally just because I'm watching this video. It's literally 12:30 at night right now, and I'm watching this. I it's not because it's boring. It's because I'm tired. But like I'm like literally, I just want to keep
everyone
watching this.
could grab their SI points for 2021.
Yeah, bang.
From a more personal point of view, hosting the opening of the brand new Ubisoft studio in Paris, especially during such a tough period, was a great sigh of relief.
Yeah, bro, they're
after
doing
being
a
cooped
lot,
up at
like,
home,
during the
away
COVID
from the
time, bro.
professional crew and equipment I sort of got used to. It's a different feeling when everyone can just throw their ideas around the literal table than it is having Discord calls. Even more so when you're spending 40 hours a week
real,
on
bro.
broadcast. And
40
I really
hours
just
a
want to
week?
take a moment to
Holy
appreciate
shit.
the massive effort the players, production, league operations, management, social media, and talent teams put in to bring people as much competitive Siege as is humanly possible.
Yeah, this is valid though, because this is, bro, like everything that they're doing, the restructure, all the stuff he's literally talked about since what, the start of the Great Depression. This is literally during COVID. Like they're doing all this stuff, bro. That's valid.
It truly was a Herculean
Yeah,
effort.
that's valid, bro.
A small mention here. Ubisoft had announced the Siege World Championship in September of 2020, all with a detailed format for national selections and a tournament set for July 2021. However, this event and the entire process would be moved to 2022 and, unfortunately, later completely cancelled.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I would definitely love to see a revival of that.
Yeah, that
for
would be cool.
A summer event.
That would be cool for sure.
At the end of the year, regional finals were the big spotlight since they occupied their own space and time, away from the regular schedule viewers had gotten used to. In BDS versus G2, Virtue, who had moved from Australia,
Ooh,
all the
Virtue,
way to
what
Germany
up? I mess
for
with Virtue.
right before lockdown, hit his famous toe shot save on Theme Park and showed excellent yokai drone hatch juggle on console. Bolo popping off on TSM,
Ooh,
but also
Bolo?
Mark's incredible precision torch work on Maverick.
Come on, Mark.
Liquid's dominating run with Palu as MVP in Brazil.
Palu's tough too.
And Giants' run in APAC
still
shield-headed
not-
by Looter Metal on Montagne.
Who?
But
Both
with
two
no way
who's,
to
no
tell
disrespect.
who really was king internationally, everyone eyed 2021 hoping for a return to form.
Real.
And despite SI21 being cancelled,
Rare.
Ubisoft was thankfully able to move it to Paris for May instead of the planned February in Montreal, as had been tradition at this point.
Okay.
Teams had to wait slightly longer, but there was light at the end of the tunnel.
That's valid though.
Those who had already
it still
qualified to
happened.
SI21 didn't have to put their hopes on the line during Stage 1 of the 2021 season, as this stage's SI points counted towards SI22. So, let's set this up. It's May 2021. There have been no offline esports events for 14 months. No esport. Everyone's been cooped up at home trying to keep it together. And finally,
Okay,
we
the
have the chance to
coffin
enjoy
meme.
a Siege event. Viewers can attend the event in person, of course, but players from all over the world will fight for the privilege of
Okay.
lifting the hammer.
That's cool still, I
20
guess.
teams were set to travel to Paris.
I mean, like, I think the cool thing with, like, the invitationals and, like, the majors, for sure, is just, like, getting people there, you know what I mean? Because, like, then, you know, what, like, they play in front of a bunch of people, you know what I mean? Like, on the main stage and stuff like that. And then it's also cool for, like, the community to get together and stuff like that. So, I mean, at least, like, they're able to do it LAN, you know what I mean? Because, like, even winning LAN compared to, like, if it's just online is, like, a lot different, and it's, you know, harder to win LAN. But that does suck that nobody was able to go there because of COVID.
Squads were split in two groups, A and B, with 10 teams each. Group B, however, ended up with 8, as hopefuls vs Pro and Australian heavy hitters Wildcard were unable to attend
Wildcard?
due to a positive PCR test result and to travel restrictions,
PCR.
respectively. The top 4 of each group had an automatic leg up by being seeded directly into the upper bit of a double elimination bracket, only 3 wins away from the grand final, unlike the lower bracket that played twice as many games, on top of being
but
open to
yes.
knockout with 1 loss. For the last squads, Cyclops and Giants, it was elimination in the group stage.
Damn.
Speaking of outliers, Parabellum and Makers had
We got
broken new
Citizen
ground
on
here.
G2?
PB
What?
was the first ever Canadian squad to play internationally, and Makers the first Italians to do so as well.
Come on, I'm
If
Italian,
you ask
bro.
me, between these two teams and bigger
Come on.
orgs bringing in more and more new talent, I felt like 2021 was going to be huge for young up-and-comers. We were witnessing the changing of the guard firsthand. Anywho, it
Okay.
didn't take long to eliminate EU's
New
hopes
gens.
for a win, with BDS and Empire knocked out in 3 games. MIBR, with Philippox showing himself as a reliable back line, took it all the way to 3rd place, a huge sign of progress. I'd say a substantial part of that built-up cohesion
Oh,
is due to
Breeday's
Coach
on
Bugay,
Shaco.
who would continue his
I
career
mean,
to this day
BDS.
in North America. Look, Brazil in general was demolishing everyone. They actually spent the past year or so practicing hard, using their local
Always
tournaments
is
in
on
unique
Empire.
LAN environments to get 10 steps ahead of every other region. MIBR, FaZe, NIP,
Dang.
and Liquid
Oh my
all
God.
flanked the remaining NA Hope and TSM and OXG until they were no more.
Damn.
Liquid had actually lost to MIBR in the upper bracket, but
Chalk
kept
them.
bouncing back off the back of Palu
Wait.
all the way to the grand final after
Ooh,
getting their revenge
wait.
on MIBR. NIP versus Team Liquid. The best Brazil had to offer, head to head. NIP were walking in with a map win, as was the case with SSG last year, with Liquid also tired from their match versus MIBR earlier. A bit of context here. Julio
Bro.
had never won
Shout out, he literally hasn't like really said and praised NIP a lot, but like shout out them, bro. Like back to back appearances. Like I hope I like Liquid, so I kind of hope Liquid wins this. It's funny because like this happened and like I'm like, oh, I hope they win, but literally I'm gonna be able to see it in like a second. But bro, shout out NIP, bro. Julio, I love Julio. Bleed coach, rip Bleed. You know, I'll be supporting them, Team Joel for sure. But that Bleed roster, bro,
a
remember
trophy
them
at this
forever.
point. Like, ever. At any tournament ever. Even in his Battlefield 4 days, the man always came second to the dominant Fnatic. This was his best shot yet, even more so than at
lock-in.
SI20. Palu had a bit more of a tragic story.
Oh, damn.
The boy wonder, and a man with one of the biggest loving hearts I've ever met, had lost his father the day before.
Oh, damn.
But, despite his loss, Palu put on an incredible show.
Okay, yeah.
Liquid lost
Rip. Bro, but like that just like sets him up, bro. Like
Cafe, but quickly bounced back on Chalet and
my.
Clubhouse. Unfortunately for the Seahorses clad
RIP.
in white and blue, NIP put on an incredible 6 consecutive defense rounds on Consulate. Their fate was quickly sealed. After years
Oh my
of
god.
trials and
This
tribulations,
fire ass lineup.
loss after loss in the
Oh
early
my
stages
god,
of the
that fire
tournament,
ass lineup.
and a close call in Montreal. Julio and the squad had made the dream come true.
Oh, they won?
NIP had finally won an invitational.
Wow.
Brazil was redeemed.
Clap
It
it
was the
up.
dawn of a new
I
era.
never knew they won. I thought Liquid was gonna win that, bro. Damn.
One
Shout
we
out.
kinda still live in to this day. Siege had signed the pact of Ordem e Progresso.
Huh? What process? Ordem e prazo. That's kind of tough. What does this mean? Though?
NIP and Brazil's overall success at SI21 had ushered in a new age in CG sports. Let's not forget that the entire LATAM region had been overhauled with a new league system. Copa Elite 6 from 2016 had been revived and used as a
True.
blanket to see who were the best in Central and South America. Brazil
Dude, like here's FaZe's roster coming together. Cyber, I think Cyber's still there. Soul's
carried the
still
biggest
still on
weight.
FaZe.
But for the first time ever, Mexico and the general South American region were able to send the top 4 of their 10 representatives to majors and earn
Okay.
SI points. And for the next major in Mexico, it was Brazil to send all 4 representatives.
Ow.
However, alongside finalists NIP and Team Liquid came relative unknowns in Team 1 and Furia Esports.
Furia.
2 squads that had been formed only a year or so prior now swipe spots from veterans like FaZe Clan and MIBR.
Yeah, what?
It proves yet again that you can never be safe at the top.
Wait, that's valid though.
The Knights
Stealing
weren't
from
able
FaZe?
to travel from Australia, and in general, ANZ would have to wait until the November major for a real shot. Back in Mexico City, however, things were getting complicated in Group A. I haven't talked much about specific groups at these events because we'd be here for days, but this specific time, something absolutely...
Yeah, bro. Like he said it early. He just said it there. Like how it would take days to get into that, and then like with the one tournament, double the length of the video. It's low key like he's done such a good job at like condensing it. Like I don't know the full history, obviously, but like from what I watched so far, like it feels like he's like summarizing everything like really well. You know what I mean? A little glaze, but like great video so
unexpected
far.
happened. Team 1 and Cyclops were tied after playing all their games. And had to
Oh my
go-
god! Alamo, welcome. Alamo, welcome. And then I'm covering him, but Lagonis is on there. He's on Liquid here. I'll move it right under me, right there. And is that Net? Oh no, it's not Nesk. Why would that be Nesk?
to
Shout
a
out Alamo. I
tiebreaker
love
match
Alamo.
in which Team 1 clawed a 7-4 win thanks to massive effort from Lagonis, better known as Lagotness. Let's follow Team 1
Lagotness? I
They
didn't know he
knock
was
out
like
those 0 in
that.
quarters, go up against regional giants and SI
Oh, yeah,
runners
chalk
up
'em, bro.
Liquid, and smash them
Oh,
7-0 in
wait.
Consulate for a spot in the grand final. In the meantime, Team Empire and BDS, who had barely scraped by against SSG and Furia respectively, faced each other in the semis. This game was yet another case of having a grand final quality match play out in semis.
That's valid though.
Watching Consulate at 3 in the morning was one of the most butt-clenching experiences in recent memory. Truly worth you going back and watching it in full.
Wait, should we watch
And in
it?
max
Chat, do we watch it for a video? What is this? What is this? We'll watch it. We're watching it. Not right now.
overtime,
But
it
we're
was
watching it.
Empire that took the win for the second spot in the grand final.
Wait, but that I know what happened.
This time,
Okay, well.
there was no upper bracket and no map
Damn.
advantage for any team in the best of 5 grand final. Clubhouse, Chalet, and Consulate were relatively one-sided affairs, with only Coastline pushing it to overtime. And unfortunately for Empire in Europe, Team 1, despite being green in comparison, eked out a 7-1 slaughter on Villa to end the series
Bang.
3-2.
Bang.
No one could believe it.
Bro, shout out Team 1.
The squad would have
KDS
been
too. KDS, I don't. Does he play for FaZe? I think he plays for FaZe. And then the Empire roster is literally just the Virtus Pro roster minus Pasha.
formed only 5 months ago, had defeated regional
Yeah, that
and international
5 months
giants,
ago. Wow, that's actually crazy.
crawling out of the group stage by the skin of their teeth.
Dang, oh my
Team
god.
1 had walked the golden
Lagotness.
road and were now major champions.
Mm.
Brazil 2, everyone else 0. Before we get to the Yevle Major though,
Come on, man.
there's something heavy we need to talk about.
Oh shit.
Earlier in 2021, the EU scene had lost a beloved up-and-comer, next one, to COVID.
Damn.
He had shown major promise, and his work ethic was praised by both
Damn,
teammates
rip.
and opponents.
R.I.P.
Your memory
That's
remains
actually
strong
sad, bro.
in the German and European community as a whole.
That's dead ass sad.
You know this was also coming.
What?
In the early hours of October 13th, I got a call. Lo and behold, it's Parker Mackay in Taro. And I, you usually don't get calls in the middle of the night that way unless it's something really important. So I pick up, and through his voice, I could definitely hear sadness and sniffles and definitely tears.
What
After
happened?
collecting
Wait,
himself, he just delivered the news.
What happened?
Kickstarter had passed
Oh
away in a car accident.
shit.
And
Oh damn.
that was kind of it. That it was done.
Okay, before we get into this, I never was around Siege when Kickstarter was doing stuff, but I've heard so much about Kickstarter. I heard he was an amazing guy, great caster, everything like that. So, rest in peace to him. Live on forever.
I was
bro.
just told
Live on forever.
not to
Go.
inform anybody until a certain time.
Damn, that's sad.
and
Because he's
that's
like
where we
he was
left
like
it
a
off.
caster too, so they're probably like good friends. Damn.
I didn't quite sleep that night, and we had a very early APAC North show the next morning. So, thankfully, my wife was there to comfort me, but
Be wife.
I
Damn, that's sad, bro.
got up, I got ready, I went to work. We did the show, and then I called in all of the broadcast talent, all of our colleagues, into our green room. And I just told them.
Damn, bro.
There was no other way.
That's sad, bro. Damn.
And that was probably the most difficult thing I've ever done
Damn,
in my
bro.
entire life.
That He's got to tell everybody that too.
The only thing that comes close to it is the eulogy later in SI22, which at least was more upbeat than this could ever be. And to say that we did anything other than literally screaming at the top of our lungs in there, crying, breaking down, would just be a lie. We needed to go home. And thankfully our senior staff had also pushed for that decision. As you saw, we all went home. We did the last broadcast from home. We needed the time to recuperate because, you know, it's not something that's easy. To this day, it's still haunts us.
Like, that's his friend, bro. That's all their friend. Yeah, real.
And
that's what
I could say is, rest in peace, buddy. We're still asking, why does Constantinople get the works? But look, if anything, I know Michael well enough. He wasn't just a colleague, but a friend, a neighbor. To me and Intero, he was kind of our own child in some ways, and watching him grow to the height that he's gotten to in Mexico was just incredible. I don't have children of my own, but I assume this is what that feeling of pride actually is like, and it's incredible.
Bro, this is actually sad.
I'm proud of you, Michael. And
bro,
I know that in this situation, the thing that you would say, like you've done many times, is to say, what the hell are you doing, Gassan? One of the rare people that actually says that. Gassan. We have a show to do. It's something that he learned and that he really took upon himself. And he was right. He absolutely is. We have a show to do. It's what we're here for.
Bro,
and
that's
God
sad.
damn, we did.
Bro, that's
it was time for
sad.
the Gävle Major.
That's
and for the first of many times, the crew took off to Sweden. A location change away from the planned event in Asia due to the pandemic.
Sweden, is that spoilt?
Finally, in Sweden, all regions were fully represented and stocked up this time around. In a cute repurposed factory in a cute little town, some of the most impactful Siege would be played. In a massive turn of events, both Korean squads, Sandbox and Damwon Kia, had gotten out of groups. They were quickly pitted against one another in the quarterfinals. No clue how that happened. I don't know. And with a swift strike, DK were the first Korean and APAC
Bro, look at how good the game looks. Organ rework, we're locked.
Team to play in an international tournament semi-final since Nora Rengo's rise at SI 2019.
Bang.
And after the loss in Mexico, NIP were out for blood. They tore through Group C and through SSG and Rogue for a spot in the final. Rogue made a surprise appearance after what seemed to be a bit of a dysfunctional team. Yet somehow they beat Team 1 to bow out later to NIP. What really mattered to them was getting to the semifinals.
Aura, bro.
That would guarantee Rogue a spot at SI 22, the next step in the calendar. Mission accomplished, I'd say.
Bang.
Stage theming at Siege events had popped off since the Pro League finals in Milan in 2019, and here in Gävle, it was no different. A Nordic Vikinger theme presided over the major, full of mysticism and with a massive tree.
Bro, that actually looks cool
at
as
the center
hell,
of
bro.
the arena. Yet again, we had a semi-final for the ages. FaZe and Damwon Kia quickly did away with Shelly Bank. But despite Yas's best efforts and the incredible...
Bro, like this FaZe team, nothing like it is right now. Because they have Handy, they have Vidaking, and then they have one other person. But like Cameraman, it's crazy he's still on FaZe. He's covering, but the middle one's Cameraman.
Incredible flex Rin being put into a legendary 1v1 and overtime match point. Souls delivered the final
1.5
blow into yet another all-Brazilian final against NIP.
Bang.
FaZe started by smashing NIP 7-1 on Coastline, but the Ninjas retaliated on Chalet and especially Villa, where we had our first extended overtime since G2V Empire at SI 19.
Bang, 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 bang.
Sadly for NIP, Cyber had gone mental.
Yeah, Cyber's
Absolutely
good,
stacking
bro.
up kills
Cyber's
on the board
good.
to the point that they ran out of breath on Banking Cafe.
12-2 in round 6. Wow.
With that, FaZe were crowned major champions.
MW FaZe.
After years of close but no cigar, FaZe had finally done
Shout
it
out
and
Ron,
collected
shout
a
out
trophy for their,
Black Boy Max. Get
up
me
till
on the
then,
stream.
pretty empty case at home. While the entire
Trying to make
player
music
squad
with
of
you, Max.
Astro, Cameraman, Souls, Cyber, and Bullet are excellent at what
100% rating? Are we serious? That's actually crazy. Dude got a 25.
they do. Big praise was given to Coach Ramalho for keeping the team's mentality in check and preparing them for the
Is
trials
he still the coach
of
now?
modern
He
Siege
might be.
over the past year. Brazil 3, everyone else, zilch.
Yeah, shout out Brazil,
The
bro.
crown
They're
had
going
been passed
fed.
around between the top Brazilian squads over the past year. They were the undisputed best region after all. NIP, FaZe, Team 1, and Liquid were an inspiration
And
to
they
every
gotta
team in
lock
the world.
in.
Work
And
hard
they gotta
enough,
lock in.
and with time, you'll make it happen. And with the year wrapped
Tough
up,
ass quote.
all eyes turned to Invitational 2022.
We're back, yeah. A never-ending revolution? This music is
SI22
tough,
was
bro.
planned to come back to Montreal after 2 years away. Unfortunately, restrictions due to the pandemic were still in place, and that, also unfortunately, forced Ubisoft and tournament organizer ESL to move the show all the way to Stockholm in Sweden. It was genuinely a massive undertaking, pulling off something like this with how the state of the world was and the short window of time given. This time, all 20 participating teams would attend the event. They were split into 4 groups of 5 each, where the 5th place team would be eliminated. The bracket was back to the double elimination format.
Is this how it is
However,
now?
with crucial changes,
This might be how it
I
is
believe
now.
were for the best. Gone is the map advantage in the grand final, with the upper bracket team's
Valid.
biggest advantage being
Valid.
coming fresh into a match, as opposed to the lower bracket team having to play a qualification match
Pangu.
on the same day as the final. Additionally, the top team from each group would be placed only 3 wins away from the grand final, whereas every other team would have to go through 4 to 6 matches. This means that viewers got a boatload of games round the clock, with an enormous variety of inter-regional matchups.
That's good, bro.
Coming into SI, Alamau, Team 1's most flamboyant and
Alamau.
arrogant player, was touting the line of The Last Dance, a reference to the fact that this would be his final run with this squad. Who knew where he would end up? Well,
G2.
Team 1 was immediately eliminated in Group D, joining BDS, who played with their coach in this event, Cyclops, and Sandbox, all of them together at the airport. A massive surprise were Furia and Demon Kia,
Ooh, look at Kino. Shout out Kino, M80 GOAT.
both topped their groups that included heavy hitters like TSM and OXG. It's also in the lower bracket
TSM.
that elevates Onigiri, one of the best players to come out of APAC, had tied the map kill record set by Palu at 27. Crucial.
27 kills. What? Palu has so much aura. Like, look at him from. Come on, Palu.
This would be the highest recorded at a major
That's
event.
insane. 27
Over
kills,
the past few
bro.
months, a certain fog had descended upon APAC teams. Demon Kia especially, who I mentioned had topped their group, looked indestructible. That's where Sonics come in. Led by the IGL with the biggest brains and the smallest skill death ratio, Super, Sonics tore through Elevate and Damwon off the back of a Kansan clutch. The Korean squad especially was so
Kansan. Bro, there's like, I saw a clip of Kansan on, I think it's on Bank, and it's like one of the most insane things you'll ever see. Look it up. If he doesn't play it, make sure you look it
that
up.
they were an easy finish for OXG. Sonics would later bow out to FaZe Clan only 2 games away from the final. A pretty darn deep run for this team. In general, NA teams were performing to a very high standard at this SI.
Come on, NA?
Aside from Team Empire, EQ was a massive disappointment.
Damn.
Empire then had its big
Yo, what happened to G2, bro? What happened to G2, bro? Are they washed?
test versus TSM in the upper bracket final. TSM had narrowly crossed past NIP, Furia, and Liquid, proving to be an effective net against Brazil.
Oh my.
However, that same mix of minute strategy and play for picks TSM was so good at failed against Empire. But yet again, TSM systematically dismantled FaZe to collect all of the Brazil Infinity Stones and prepared for revenge against Empire. The final opened on Clubhouse, Empire's home turf. And yet, TSM pulled a win in overtime.
Bang.
Same one for Cafe.
Come on,
It'll
Bolo.
die
This is
for
Bolo,
Empire.
bro. Lock in, Bolo.
The Russians pulled it back on Oregon
Lock in, twin.
close overtime. But it's on Villa where
Oh.
history would be made.
History.
Jason Dottie, as Bolo's civilian name goes, had
Bolo.
played his first Pro League match
Bolo.
in June 2019 versus SSG on Villa.
Oh,
1.5 years later, it's on that very same map that the content creator turned pro would silence all critics.
Wait.
TSM were world champions.
Bolo? I didn't even know he won a major. This is the invitational. I didn't even know he won an invitational. Bro, shout out Bolo, bro. That's aura. Wait, that's more aura.
It's important to note
That's
that
more aura.
success like TSM's doesn't come from one individual. Achieved and Merc had been constantly trying to outdo one another on the scoreboard in every game.
Bro, valid.
Gio was a solid rock and an important part
Gio
of keeping
Yerkes.
team
Let me know.
spirits high. Chala had been dismissed by doubters all the way back in 2018, but he proved them all wrong and became an integral part of successful rosters
Bro, let's
like
go,
SSG's
Bolo.
in NA.
Let's
And of
go,
course, the
Bolo.
legendary Pojo Man. Did I just win?
I know Pojo Man only because I went on like a random co-stream of Bolo when he was playing in this, and he was on it. Shout out Pojo Man. He's
Counted
cool.
on data and gotcha to give the squad everything it needed for ultimate
That's valid
victory.
though. Thank you, TSM Myth.
had beaten the best every region could offer, especially Brazil. The counter was reset.
Valid.
Honestly, 2022 passed by like a blur for me. It was incredibly invigorating seeing Siege return to its heights, despite the clear impact the pandemic had on the workflow, on the event schedule, and
Yeah, I'm sure
everybody's-
like COVID wise, like it hits like this crazy. You know what I mean? Like just because like bro, I like gaming shit like this has to be like so intricate because it's like it's not just like when you think about it in like just like a normal sport way where like like an association like the NBA, yeah, you're managing like what 30 teams, NFL you're managing 30 teams, but that's all like in the US, bro. This is like they're managing so many things like around the world. It's kind of like a soccer, like a FIFA kind of thing. So, but yeah, bro, I'm sure it's like
mental
hard.
health and psyche at this point. Past SI and through stage 1, there were quite a few regional shifts. Astralis and XZ had burst onto the
Ooh,
top 4 of the
Astralis.
NA
I
scene.
know Astralis.
Iconic, Jane I Know, Yaga,
Iconic. Bro, I know like all these guys, what?
Kino, and legitimately every player on the two squads were a massive injection of fresh blood and ideas into the NA scene to push
Gomez,
it
I know.
forward
Oh my
past
God, bro.
TSM's win at SI.
Oh, I think M80 just took like this whole roster. Cause M80 has Kino, they had Diaz, they had Yoga. I think they had Gomez, and then it's like they got Spoit. Astralis, Forrest goes to SSG. He's on SSG currently. Jane I know also is on SSG. And then Iconic was on SSG. He's not anymore. I have no idea what happened to Iconic. He was just kind of mid on SSG.
G2 had also been remade.
But I heard
with
he's good
Alamau,
on.
Doki, Virtue, Citizen.
Oh, locked in, bro. Bro, like Alamau and Doki, bro. Like they're just so tough. They're so tough.
And Prano, a big but necessary shift.
And
in
they
the
have
team
Citizen
to move
and
past the
Virtue.
slump
That's a
in
good team.
2021.
I do not know who they do on the left.
Also, the old Vitality roster that had split with Fabian were still looking for an organization to represent until being picked up by Wolves Esports, part of the Wolverhampton football team. Another EU entry.
I did not know that. A Premier League team owns esport? Rainbow Six Siege. That's weird.
was
I didn't know
heroic.
that.
They had a squad in 2021, but the biggest shift was the Norwegian org picking up the much beloved Kovana Gaming of Gorgona, Grizzly, Sloth, and the big hitters of Uno, the big prospect,
Let's go, Uno.
Benjamaster. And finally for EU,
Bro. Okay.
of Uno, the big prospect, Benjamaster.
I know what happens in this next major because of a couple things, but Benja is tough. You can this kind of a spoiler in the thing, bro. I didn't even realize that. Benja's
Finally for
tough.
EU,
Benja's so tough,
Tragedy
bro.
struck
Benja's
as
tough.
Team Empire's roster was dropped out of nowhere. Yeah, the second-rated team in the world and a top contender in Europe was just gone.
Why would you drop
The squad
that?
would fracture and split among VP and a new Empire, but those org names would be dropped altogether with restrictions being placed
Yeah,
on
because
Russia.
then they go to Virtus
Obviously,
Pro.
not a topic to get into here. W7M had also been reformed with JV92 and Volps, but even more so Team 1, with Alamo departing, a new roster with Dots, Dash, RHZ, Maya, most
Maya, bro, what is with the Lagotis? Can somebody let me know? Okay, from this team, Lagonis goes what? Liquid, Maya, eventually goes to Liquid, Dots, I think he goes face. I'm
of
like
them
spewing
fresh
my
into
knowledge,
competition
bro.
in
I'm
2020,
like flexing.
rallying behind Lagonis. The next event would be held in Charlotte, North Carolina, a perfect follow-up to SI with a hometown American crowd cheering on the NA teams. It's a great motivator, if anything. Of course, this was to be the first in-venue Siege event with fans and the works since SI 2020. A couple of asterisks. for
Valid,
Charlotte.
bro. Valid. We back.
US visas
We
are
back.
notoriously time-consuming when applying in many countries. Most countries, actually. Elevate weren't able to secure their own in time.
Damn.
Neither could quite a few players from Furia, W7M, and Team 1. It's an unfortunate reality that when you come from certain parts of the world, that no matter how many resources or how much time and effort you put into your work and preparation, some things like visas, especially to the USA, are incredibly unpredictable.
I didn't even know
You can't
visas
just
were
pop
hard to
down
get
to
here.
the shops for a visa. It doesn't work that way.
I didn't even know
And
that.
this is coming from someone who, at this point, has collected 17 of them since 2010
Yeah,
due
bro,
to
this
my
dude goes
frankly,
everywhere.
horrendous Lebanese passport. Ubisoft and
Lebanese.
Faceit put together a stopgap where teams would be able to play from Mexico if they weren't able to enter the US to at least be closer to the action, in the hopes that paperwork would be resolved by the time the playoffs rolled around. Unfortunately, geography and distance played a huge role in hampering teams
Yeah.
and lowering their morale, although Team 1 was able to pass the groups. However, to say that any teams were off to the races would be an understatement. Despite Liquid, G2, and BDS's success in groups,
Oh,
OXG
wait, look at this Dark Zero roster, bruh. Here we go, NJR. Okay, NJR's 0-4 in this, but he's tough, bro. NJR is such a consistent guy. Pambazoo, he's tough. Hyper, I know him. Canadian, welcome. And look what has resets at this
Dark
point.
Zero, Exet, and especially Astralis were on an absolute tear. Astralis' game versus Exet had the crowd go wild. A close game with figures that have actual personalities that interacted with the audience. And once more, Iconic
That's
was
valid.
just insane.
Yeah, bro.
Enough
What happened to
to push
Iconic,
Astralis
bro?
past Exet and OXG, who themselves had eliminated BDS and sat squarely now in the final. Dark Zero played a very awkward game versus Team 1. The Brazilians had shown up with 3 of the 5 players, and 2 cardboard cutouts of their comrades that couldn't make it to the US. And Dark Zero were blindsided by this in map 1, but got back into shape to take the win, and repeat the story versus Liquid. It was plain to see, NA had figured out the Brazil game plan. This Dark Zero Astralis
Fucking
final
NA.
is a clear-cut old guard versus the new. And even in that case, Dark Zero had actively recruited fresh talent since 2020. A max overtime villa gave
Damn.
Astralis the lead.
Damn.
Dark Zero fired
Game
back on the
5?
border, only to be tied back on Oregon.
Game 5, 5-0.
I'm gonna call this the banana buff. Because NJR had the whole convention center cheering him on, eating a banana, which is just the best thing ever. Turns
Yo.
out that's exactly what Dark Zero needed. Bank was a walkover. NJR with the potassium buff led Dark Zero to victory, and Canadian
Potassium
his first
buff.
major trophy.
Come on,
Hyper had been playing for years, including NA Mouse Sports.
Hyper.
early
Oh my god, because he was on. Oh my god, he was on. Bro, he was on M80 for like 3 weeks, bro, and then they dropped him or something. I don't know.
Zero. NJR
Shout
had
out
a start with
DZ.
Aerial Rise in NACL and CCS, and Pambazoo was discovered only a
Oh, and there's
year
Min.
prior
Min
to
is
this
the
major
coach now.
victory. NA had it going on, and they weren't about to let it go so easily.
Bruh. Come on, and Nate.
Heading into the next stop on the esports calendar, the August Berlin Major, it was on every other region to change it up. The biggest change came in the roster swap for Rogue. We talked about Bolo and his arc, but it's here that a new challenger burst onto the scene. Spoit, the Swedish Wonder Boy
Spoit!
content creator,
What
had
up,
just
Spoit?
turned 18 and was picked up by Rogue after the Stage 1 roster shuffle.
Come on,
The squad
come on,
had been
Spoit.
rebuilt around Spoit as spearhead, with legend Kenta Raketti.
Bro, that's low-key crazy, bro. Literally, bro, imagine dude is so taught it after. He's literally Victor Wembanyama, bro. This is Victor Wembanyama of Siege right here, bro.
In and out of server Muscleman Cryan, IGL and Flex Leon Gids, and probably the best Dutch player, Deepak. The young talent was flanked by 4 incredibly experienced players.
Okay, bro,
with
what is
Nathan
this
and
picture,
Sadis
bro? What
as
are we
coach
doing?
and analyst, and even a mental coach in the LEC renowned Bernadette.
What are we doing? with
Also
the
in
picture?
Europe, Eminem Gaming had risen to the top 4. The squad led by Nello
Ooh,
started in
Solitov!
2021 as Yukon champions, then
And
Challenger
you-
League
use-
to
use
qualifying
this?
for SI22,
Bro,
and
use this
now
is
had gotten a
tough.
shot
Use
at
this
a
so
major
tough.
event. Over in NA, Sonics had held on to their top 4 spot despite Dark Zero's best attempts. SSG was in a slump and working to reform, so they were out of commission for a while. And finally, in APAC, Indonesian hopefuls, Game and Gladiators, had burst onto the international scene out of nowhere after causing havoc in APAC South. To say that this major was full of surprises would be an understatement. NIP, Damwon Sandbox, Sonics, OXG, Game and Gladiators, Eminem, and Astralis were all knocked out in groups. W7M and XSET especially had won 5 out of their 6 games. Just so you know, the joke at the time was that XSET was just a Brazilian team in a large overcoat in NA in disguise, since only Spirits and Yaga were the non-Brazilians on the squad.
Chills, bro.
The Berlin Major was important in its own way. Charlotte may have been the first audience event in over 2 years, but Berlin was the first major audience event in Europe since the Milan Pro League Finals in 2019.
Yeah, bro. Europe is massive too.
Let's also remember that a 2020 major was set for Amsterdam, but was
What is this? What is this dude Spoit doing, bro? Oh, they built this whole team around him. Dude's 3-6. Look at this team, bro. They're getting big.
unfortunately cancelled due to lockdowns. This was big not only for the German community, but for the entirety of Europe. Traveling to and finding things to
One
do in
in
Berlin
8,
is quite
chills.
easy. And with a 2 months heads up, tickets flew off the shelves. With seats full of 1,700 fans, European teams got massive cheers. and
Yo,
so did
what
LA
am I
from A.
watching right now? What is this
However,
footage?
It was XSET that provided yet another quarterfinals knockout for Wolves, and Rogue, who in 2 overtime maps took out the EU favorites G2. It was a genuine nail biter of a game, with
what?
Spoit bringing the heat to the stage. Unfortunately for Elevate, and despite their best efforts, W7M closed an overtime border for a 2-1.
What does W7M look like in this? I mean, okay, so they pretty much have their whole like team. Who are they? I think Handy is who they're missing. I think it's Handy.
advancing to the
Hers
semifinals
is tough.
to face off against FaZe Clan,
Yeah,
who
W7M's
themselves had a
tough,
tough
bro.
fight the game prior versus Furia, although the theater was quite a bit quieter by that point. W7M had heart, but not the level of experience FaZe brought to the table. That was a decisive difference, with Bullet activating and taking the favorites FaZe into yet another final. They fell to NIP and Yevla, but lessons were learned. Now, XSET rolled over a Rogue on Bank, but the Europeans exacted swift revenge on Chalet and Oregon for a
Bang.
spot in the final.
Bang, bro.
Rogue, and Spoit in particular, were walking the golden road.
Come on, Spoit.
What
Come on,
transpired
Spoit.
in the grand final
Spoit is so
is
tough.
probably one of the
I'm pausing it before it gets to this massive thing, bro. Spoit is so tough. I love Spoit. Slow glaze sesh. Love you.
What
Sweat.
transpired in the grand final is probably
Like, he's just so tough to watch. Okay, I can't stop, guys. I gotta stop glazing. And he's a cool person.
one of
that's
the
fun.
best, most entertaining finals, with FaZe and Rogue trading blows one map after the other. This best of 5 saw 69 out of the
aim.
total possible 75 rounds played.
Oh my
Both
god.
teams neck and neck. The chants from the crowd got louder and louder,
That's
both
valid.
from the European and Brazilian side up on the balconies, drowning out the arena in the center of Berlin. Each one of the 10 players put marks on the board. It was a clinic of a game, showing any aspiring player something to learn. All except for one tiny but crucial mistake.
What?
On round 15 on Clubhouse, Rogue chose bar and stage for their defense final stand. Not a common pick
Bar
given
and
the possible vertical
stage?
control, but Rogue chose to roam. FaZe knocked out Kanto and Leon on the top floor, but lost 2 of their own in doing so. The commotion also left the oil pit ladder unguarded, without the
Nah.
usual claymore placed. Now with FaZe focused on the site and looking for a plant, Cryan had snuck up oil pit and slowly dipped into lounge and
Wait.
bar with camera support from DeepX Echo. With time running out, FaZe had to execute. Rogue had all the information needed. Cryan seized the moment to collect the final 2 kills and
Bang.
close out the round.
Bang!
Some would call it a fluke, the same that one team won the major in Mexico. But against all odds, Rogue, the reformed roster with Spoit at the tip of the spear, had
I never knew Spoy has won a major. I never knew that. I never knew that.
walked the golden road.
Let's
and
go,
went from
Spoit.
0 to hero in
go,
one
Spoit.
stage in front of the home crowd. EU was back into the championship running. It was
Well, Spoit.
anybody's game. It was an incredibly exciting time to be a Siege fan, to say the least. There were also some roster changes leading into Stage 3 and the next major, to be held during DreamHack Winter in Jönköping, Sweden. W7M, the massive Brazilian hopefuls, had longtime veteran Julio join the team on top of Volks
He was
and
on
JV92,
W7M?
who joined in Stage 1, with GDN being put on the bench. Also in Brazil, Liquid had managed to sign Lagonas, the incredible IGL that was
Lagonas.
instrumental to
The
Team
goat.
1's victory in Mexico. The squad felt directionless, and the fresh talent of Ask and Resets would benefit from a leader like Lagonas. In NA, Sonics' legendary Super moved to a managerial role, and with Yeti departing, the organization brought on the young prospect Gunnar from Parabellum and
Gunnar.
the one
He's
and
tough too.
only
I love
Gio
Gunnar.
from TSM. BDS had also made a change of their own. Yeah, you heard me. The intangible, inflexible French roster who hadn't had a swap since RXWD to Bride in 2020
Shout out
had made
Bride.
2 swaps.
Shout out Bride again, bro. Shout him out.
Bios had been replaced with Stuflex, another ancient history name from 2017 Vitality, and longtime Flex Rafale stepped down in favor of the hottest French prospect, Likefak.
Bro, Leaky
Adding
is
to the
tough
list
as
of
shit.
up-and-comers, Apex Celtics
Oh my God,
Fury
Likefak
from
is so
Thailand
tough.
and Direwolves from Taiwan had come out of nowhere and sprinted past the region's heavy hitters, denying them a shot at more SI points, and of course, the winter major spots. In Brazil, that pattern was reflected in Black Dragons, with veteran OG Ion at the helm, hitting the top 4, pushing out Team 1, Furia, and MIBR.
Bang, bang,
And
bang.
finally in NA, SSG and TSM had bounced back from their slump, with Mirage of all teams, the
At this time, is Bolo retired? Because Bolo retires and then unretires and goes back. Goes play DZ for DZ. I wonder.
now known for cycling players every other day, sneaking their way past Dark Zero, Astralis, OXG, Exed, and Parabellum, and all the way into the top 4. So when I say that it was anybody's game, it really was. The group stage was played in Stockholm before the top 8 were shipped off to Jönköping. Sonics looked incredible, as did Liquid and FaZe. Wolves had problems closing games, but managed to top their group. BDS and TSM, meanwhile, had inched their way into the playoffs only by a hair, and W7M stood there a cut above the rest. Undefeated with a 6-0 clean sheet in groups, the Youngbloods seemed unstoppable.
Yeah, bro.
With all but APAC having a spot in playoffs, it was a real shock discovering that all 4 quarterfinals would be regional matches, giving NA, EU, and Brazil a guaranteed spot in the semis. First up was NA with TSM versus Sonics. Gio brought intimate knowledge from his time on TSM, and Goddess and Jobro's coaching and analysis eased Sonics into the semis with a clean 7-2 on club. For EU, it was an all-French derby. Wolves had improved since Berlin, but Mowgli and Shinka had felt the pressure of the stage. Shaiko sprang back into life and scored 27 kills in the 2-mapper.
Damn.
Brazil made it quick. W7M and Liquid rocked Black Dragons and FaZe Clan socks clean off.
Bang,
And the ultimate game for Best in Brazil saw the experience of Team Liquid, guided by Lagonis, push W7M to a frustrating edge. Despite W7M 7-0ing Liquid on Map 2 Skyscraper, Liquid's result was untouched on Villa, complete reset, and closed the match 8-6 in overtime.
Wow.
But W7M were devastated.
Okay, Liquid.
But Julio, ever so calm, huddled his teammates and comforted them through their tears. He knew this squad had championship material. They'll bounce back. Sonics had all of NA's hopes of redemption on their back.
Maybe.
They took map 1 border, but maybe the pressure was too much. BDS executed a clean clubhouse and bank and went on to their first ever major grand final.
Let's go, BDS.
Liquid had been there before.
Come on, Shike.
They've lifted trophies,
Leaky
but that
so
major
tough.
win had eluded them ever since Atlantic
Shike,
City way back in 2018.
And Brede. Oh my.
BDS opened strong.
Oh my God. Replay.
Them ever since Atlantic City.
Oh, look at Brede. Oh my God, look at him. Look at him in his jersey. Shout out Brede.
BDS opened strong on Theme Park, a favorite map of theirs at this point after much training. But Liquid brought back Bank and Oregon with 2 7-4 scores. Unfortunately for Liquid, Cafe was a home ground for the EU team. And finally,
well, cause I thought, didn't Liquid lose a major? I think they lost. Yeah, they lost to NIP. So this is like get back time for them, bro.
Skyscraper showed Liquid's map pool weakness on non-conventional maps. I say with quotation marks. BDS took the series 3-2.
Damn.
The squad that has been on everyone's lips since their inception. You'd think they'd have taken over the world, had finally lifted the trophy they so deserve.
Valid, bro.
BDS finally hit a win streak. From Gamers 8 in the summer to the Japan Invitational just before Jönköping, onto the Winter Major.
Let's go, brief freaking day,
off the year with a first place finish in the 2022 EQ League Finals. 2 NA wins, 2 EU ones, and Brazil seemingly always a literal step behind. 2022 came to an end and marked a high point in Siege's lifespan, reviving the esports scene by showing that viewers around the world wanted more. And
I want more.
2025, I want more and more quality of life features and operator additions.
Did they though?
That would now no longer be under quarantine and be immediately available to play in tournaments. And I would remind everybody, even though I didn't mention it earlier, that match replays had been added into the game. So there were more ways for viewers and players, and coaches of course, to interact with games and make sure they're well prepared and optimize from the games
optimization.
Safe to say, hype was building up to a boiling point for the next chapter. Back to where it all began. Montreal would finally be home to another invitation after 3 years
of Montreal, bro.
This would also be the last aside that would be exclusively held in Montreal, with future invitationals moving from one nation and one city to the next. Siege was coming home. SI23 would continue the event's 20-team format with the same double eliminations playoffs bracket from SI22, including the removal of the controversial upper bracket finalist map advantage. The top 16 global teams in the SI points rankings would be the first invited, with 4 more squads, each from every region, joining from the local open qualifiers. Now let's break down the regions first. Korea was missing from the tiny 3-team APAC lineup this year. What's important with SI points is not just having one good stage, but being consistent throughout the year. A side effect is, for example, 2 teams in one region, especially a smaller region, performing well in 2 different stages that can lead to...
Yeah, what happened here? I'm sure he'll explain it, but like, if you can see, Spoit is on Koi. I don't know if like they bought him or how that works.
Of them qualifying to SI and reducing the slots that region sends to SI. That was the case here with APAC. Elevate, Cyclops, and Dire Wolves came in with high hopes, but were the first eliminated in groups.
Rip.
And the dark horse of Group D, Team Secret, also joined the airport shuttle. The list of first place teams in groups is an odd mix. Koi had surpassed both G2 and W7M in Group A. M&M had flawless their run in B, even when up against Sonics, Wolves, and Liquid. Lost +1,
Yeah, I think Koi's just rogue. I think Koi just bought them.
the rebranded Team 1, pulled first versus BDS, OXG, and Astralis in C. But only just, since 2-0 victories in the group stage with best of 3 matches rewarded you with 4 points, whereas 2 1s rewarded 3 for the winner and 1 for the loser. And finally, M80, who had acquired the exit lineup, had managed to come out on top of a fatal 4-way between them, Heroic, Dark Zero, and FaZe Clan, with only 3 points separating the squads. Now, Heroic, G2, and BDS immediately fell down to the lower bracket to OXG, Wolves, and W7M respectively, joined by Sonics, who failed to close versus Dark Zero.
Rip.
OXG versus M&M was a real nail-biter, with Vertical pushing the NA team on 2 max overtime maps and into the
Oh my god,
semifinals.
look, it's a Nafe. Oh my god, Nafe. Wow.
Actually,
DZ
OXG
legend.
just swapped the workload onto Noyers, who, against Wolves Esports, who had passed the Lost One test earlier, just carried it on a 7-1 clubhouse.
Bang.
OXG had been back in the semifinals that they last knew as Reciprocity
Dude got
all the
pajama
way back
pants on.
in 2018, a landmark moment. In the meantime, Koi had bumped Dark Zero down to the lower bracket with the sheer force of Spoit, whilst W7M triumphed
Spoit
against
has so much
M80,
aura, bro.
coming back from a max overtime border for a 2-1 win. Spoit versus JV92 was up next. The battle of the up-and-comers of EU and Brazil, the future legends. And it was a bust.
Okay.
W7M just kind of rolled over Koi 2-0 and rubbed salt into the
7-0,
wound with
okay.
7-0 on Villa. Up next for W7M was OXG. Theme Park was a short but sweet win for Brazil, but OXG was on a tear and brought W7M to their knees on border with a 7-0.
Hey, pause.
Imagine the whiplash you'd face here after your performance versus Koi. And somehow, with pure gusto and a helping hand from Herds, W7M closed Clubhouse 7-5 for a spot
Yeah.
at the World Championship Grand Final.
Wow.
Can you believe it? I mean,
Yeah, W7M basically, I mean, they have like their full roster now, so they're probably just gonna dominate, literally.
they barely could. But W7M, with the guidance brought on by their coaches Abrao and Igor, were on the cusp of lifting the biggest trophy in Siege. Let's come back to the lower bracket though for a moment.
Alright.
Liquid, Heroic, FaZe, and Astralis would be the first eliminated, with SSG, Dark Zero, Lost One, and M&M following soon after. Astralis, however, had continued with a fire lit under them made of pure lava from hell itself. Despite the hiccup on Clubhouse, Forest had brought Astralis back and closed their game versus
Forest?
EU favorites BDS 2-1 and knocked them out of yet another invitation. The EU
BDS,
culling would
damn.
continue with Koi. An incredibly back and forth game ensued, with the crowd feeding off of Iconic and Shuttles' energy and spitting it right back at them like it's goddamn Son Goku with a spirit bomb. Astralis had only just sunset Koi with a max overtime border and sent them back
Oh my god, that's the SSG coach in the back.
the pond.
Bro, Astral, I
It's at
didn't
this
know
point
Astralis
that
was
EU
this
fans were
good, bro.
Pooping themselves, honestly.
What?
The region was supposed to be back and better than ever. It was pure disarray. Chaos had overtaken even the coolest of minds. And it's here that in our darkest hour that a savior would emerge. Forged from the depths of Berlin's greatest kebab shops and sweatiest nightclubs.
What is it?
From Avernus itself, G2 Esports had rolled into town.
They're
You
back.
want nail biters?
They're back.
You got them.
Dude.
G2 and Astralis
I want you to look at this at this left side of the screen, bro. This is what I'm talking about. Doki, 14-9. Benja, 18 kills. Okay, Alamel is a little mid here, but he's IGL, so like, who cares?
had a clash like no other, trading blows on Chalet and Theme Park that both went to overtime. And had Benjamaster been wearing a
This game was probably fire as hell to watch. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. It goes map 3, close OT, Astralis, bro. Oh my
different
God.
pair of pants that day, could have been an Astralis win. And yet it wasn't.
Yeah,
G2
Benja's so
kept their
tough.
cool versus NA. Well, they ran it back against OXG. 8-6 on Bank, no problem. G2 make it a 7-0 on Skyscraper to
Damn,
give
7-0.
OXG a taste of their own
Alamau
medicine,
12-3.
courtesy
You can't see
of
it,
Alamau.
but 12-3.
The old dynasty,
Go.
headed by the two-time world champion, Coach Fabian, stood face to face.
Oh yeah, because that's how I know Fabian is, because he coached this G2 team above me.
Against W7M. I wonder when went through G2's
Bro,
minds that
oh my God, yo, this matchup probably. Oh my. I wish I could watch this. I wish I could, for the first time.
Alamau wanted to build his own dynasty, and they made it this far. W7M, however, had learned from their mistakes over the past year. They've made the necessary changes and investments. Rookies, they were not anymore. They had earned that respect and would claw it out of
shit.
G2 if it had to be done. Clubhouse kicked off with a W7M 7-5 win as KZ
Solid
and Volps
win.
played back-to-back.
That's their map
No.
pick.
G2 had taken Bank, a
I mean, that's
7-2
their.
even.
Ooh,
Benjamaster
dang.
almost soloing the game. Up next was Cafe.
How many kills
and
did he have?
Even.
Oh shit, we have to go
But-
back again. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh no. G2 had taken Bank,
12-3. Kids insane.
a
Alamau
7-2 even.
9-3.
Benjamaster almost soloing the game. Up next was Cafe, and something had to change. W7M started with a clean 3 rounds on attack, a great halftime score on the map.
Yeah,
as
that is
KZ
actually a
kept
good
piling
score.
up kills. But
Come on,
kills
Doki.
trickled back for G2's
I've seen this
side.
Doki clip.
Doki and
Yep.
Benja fired up the grill and pulled a third map in a row.
Bang,
People call
bang,
Oregon
bang,
map
bang.
great teams go to die on. And I believe it.
Yeah,
JV92
bro, I hate
also showed
Oregon.
himself on the board, but so did Virtue. On round 1 of overtime, an ex-Kairos enabled team kill bled W7M's morale.
Bro, what? Biggest stage, bro. Like, literally the biggest stage. This dude. Okay, yo, I can't. Shut up, Ben.
When it matters most.
Wow.
The Brazilians took their time to talk it out, but attack had been the favored side on this
Yo.
map so far. G2 pulled a sneaky one here. They sent their attack down into Freezer for a basement take, with Benja watching the flank and baiting W7M into
Bang.
his line of fire. And in 15 seconds, it was total collapse in Freezer
Bang, bang.
and hallway. G2 had built
Oh,
a dynasty
we back.
in 2018.
They back.
But from the ashes
They
of the three
back.
kingdoms of this year rose a new phoenix. Benjamaster started from nowhere. Doki wasn't even there when Navi won in Tokonami. Blur had competed since 2018 and was finally lifting an international trophy. Alamau
what
had
it's
talked
about.
so much shit that everybody loved to
about.
hate him. Virtue had uprooted from Australia to Germany for the chance of a lifetime, and Titan had finally found a squad that deserved his incredible skills as analyst.
Like, G2 before, like, pre this team, like, Fabian, Pengu, whatever, I could care less about them. This is the one, like, major Siege event that, like, I know. You know what I mean? Like, that I've seen and that I knew who won. And, like, this G2 team, bro. Benja's tough, Alamau's tough, Doki's tough, Virtue's tough. Blur's pretty tough, too. Like, but this is an awesome team, bro. Like, awesome.
And Fabian?
Aura team.
Fabian
And Fab, bro.
lifted
Fabian is...
another hammer.
Fabian so...
only
Bro,
three.
Fabian has so much aura. I like him more as a coach, but... Aura.
3 times.
Like, look at this.
The
What a kiss.
undisputed champion
Bro might be
of
the
Rainbow
GOAT.
Six Siege. How the hell does he do it?
He's the
SI23
GOAT, bro.
in the birthplace of Siege. The first audience at an SI since 3 years. And what we got was history
Bang.
repeating itself.
That's low-key crazy.
It's true what they say. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Fun fact, I'm pretty sure Benja holds the kill record at a SI in this SI. Unless it got broke last year, which it might have by her. It might have by Herds. But the new deal? Bro, this is it. This is the last one, bro. This is the last one we have, and then the
It was
next big
time to
thing.
usher in a new era in Siege esports. It was time for a fresh face. Enter Blast. During SI23, Ubisoft announced a partnership with Blast, the Danish tournament organizer famous for their
Because this is what the majors are. It's like the Blast, whatever.
Counter-Strike event productions. This partnership would come with a series of changes and overhauls to the esports format.
Bang.
Let's start from the top of the funnel, the regional leagues. Regions would be split into different tiers, each qualifying a set amount of teams to the majors. It was a substantial expansion, with EU and NA remaining much the same, but LATAM and Brazil becoming distinct entities. And so was the case with Japan and South Korea, who were no longer part of the APAC North subregion that we knew before. Much
So, like, this is the current format in Pro League right now.
the same for APAC South, now split between Asia, including Southeast Asia, and
I'm pretty sure.
Oceania. And finally, Middle East and North Africa, or MENA, my actual home region, would finally enter the global scene after years of competition being
go.
restricted to inter-regional tournaments and matches. Almost every region would have a group stage followed by a playoffs bracket, where the top performers
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
are
that's how it is
automatically
now.
seeded into the major playoffs. Tier 1 and 2 regions would also see the addition of last chance qualifiers, or
Yeah.
LCQs, to majors, meaning that even if you weren't at the tippity top of the league, you could still grab spots for the play-ins that I'll explain in just a moment. Many layers to this cake. It was a substantial change of regions,
Yeah,
but
I mean, that's...
it showed a global vision for the R6 ecosystem. As for
Oi.
majors themselves, a system inspired by Counter-Strike's Legends vs. Challengers would be put in place. And so, majors would also be split into 2 phases. A pre-major play-in phase, where lower-rated LCQ and minor region teams would hash it out between them in 4 groups of 4,
okay.
each group running a double elimination bracket. All of these teams would also be playing on LAN and in the same area as all of the other teams that have already qualified to the major. The end result is 8 teams from groups seeded against the top 8
Blade.
that directly
Bleed mentioned, bro. Bleed mentioned.
qualified. Slash it again by half in a Swiss format bracket, where the more
Swiss,
you win,
yep.
the better the teams you play against, at least
That's how it is in the
technically,
current
i.e.
majors.
If you
yep.
win 2 games and lose 1, you only play against teams with the same score, and so on and so forth. I won't bore
I
you
like
with the
that, though.
Buchholz
I like that.
calculation system explanation. I'm very sorry it happens for Booney. So let's get back to the story. Let's take the post SI23 roster fallout region by region. In Europe, the former Team Empire had merged back into Virtus Pro, with Pasha being the difference since the old roster in 22.
What up, Bosh?
Wolves Esports had benched longtime veteran Rise for Swiss newcomer Deadshot, who had impressed in the French Nationals and Challenger League under
Deadshot.
Ascend. M&M brought in a major surprise. Julio, who had pretty much done everything under the sun at this point in Siege, joined the team as coach, with Eden swapping into the analyst role. Koi, however, had suffered a substantial blow.
Yeah.
Shortly after SI, Spoit would depart for a spot on the NA roster M80. Kento Raketti had also left for TT9. With little to no time to react, Koi brought in leader of Navi fame and Noodle, who had played in various European nationals, and even had a stint playing in the Mexican Championship
Leaders
in
on
2022.
Bleed.
Yeah, there's
The
like
now
this whole
Bleed.
weird thing.
And
where
wait, they
a lot of-
both are actually. They both are on Team Joel.
especially UK players would go to Mexico to compete. I don't know, man. Like, beyond the scope of this video for sure. Sadly, this wave of change hit one team the hardest. Heroic, who had slowly climbed their way up the ladder in EU, were now seemingly unable to hold down a consistent roster for longer than a few weeks. Benja, Sloth, Noodle, Grizzly had all left the organization, but a fresh hope came in the form of Blaz, Kayak, and Skitty, all of whom had substantial EU experience, be it in Pro League or CL and Nationals, with Blaz even having played in NA under Parabellum, to be the second French player after Alfama to have moved to NA for a spawn. Let's just take a second to appreciate the Alfama, Yeti, lovey-dovey era. That was really a hell of a time. I relished every moment of it.
All my love, it's Yeti. He's straight behind me. He's been doing everything for me. We rent a flat together. He welcomed me in his family for Christmas. I want to say, like, it's just amazing. I have no word for that. That's just a good human.
Shout out, bro. Shout out.
In NA, M80 was collecting all the hottest talents they could get their hands on. Iconic and Spoit were a massive win for the team, as both
but Iconic
were incredible
was mid,
players
though.
in their own right,
He was
and with
mid.
guidance from Bodega, would eventually see the light. Dark Zero
the
had
FaZe
signed
coach?
Achieved and set Skies free. And you might be thinking, wait, isn't Achieved on TSM and isn't Iconic on Astralis? What's going on here? Yeah, about that. I didn't want to burst your bubble earlier, but TSM and Astralis both announced their departure from CG Sports. A few orgs would actually end up packing up at the end of the year, citing many, many other reasons. It's a big blow to the scene,
Patriots
especially
jersey, hey.
when they fielded such talented rosters. Of course, the pedigree of the organization itself. The upside is that SSG collected Callout, Forest, and J90 in one
Bro,
fell swoop.
J90 is so
That's a hell of a
tough.
catch, if you ask me. With OXG having also picked up Yaga, with Vertical departing for the newly formed Beast Coast roster with, notably, Big Hitter Hyper. On to Brazil. Cameraman, a name synonymous with FaZe and being one of the best out of Brazil, and Bullet were now completely out of FaZe Clan. The org had picked up Handy and KDS.
Yeah, bro.
In a response to a close loss at SI 23, W7M picked up Felipox and Nade to replace Julio and Volps.
It's a nade. It's a nade because his brother's Handy.
Big shoes to fill, but a necessary.
I got it wrong. I've been saying it wrong
For
the whole
MIBR,
time.
Felipox had of course left the team, but Perez and Lukid joined the roster with new analyst duds. And finally, Team Liquid replaced Ask with Volps. In the global APAC region, there were only a few.
Bleed mentioned. I love Bleed, and I'm so sad about what the situation was. If you guys don't know what the situation with Bleed was Bleed was being a bad organization, and they were holding prize money and weren't paying the players. So then the players had to depart. That's pretty much all. I think it was. I'm not very right maybe with that, but that's pretty much all it was. Shout out Bleed though. I love Bleed. I love Reaps. Turd on the screen right now. Turd is a goat. Go follow his Twitch. He's no longer on Bleed, but he's chill as hell. Mentalist, such a great guy. I actually talked to him on Twitter DMs one time. Awesome guy. He's awesome. And then who else am I missing? Hoven is dope. I love Hoven. And then leaders on the current like Bleed team, Noodle is, but then also oh my god, I can't think of his name. Asfi, I think that's how you say it. He's goated too. Love all the Bleed guys.
Changes. Most notably, our official guy joining Bliss in OCE. Onigiri had also stepped away from Elevate as the entire roster disbanded and was reformed with Speakeasy Healthcare, Barcode, Tolji, and Ape joining. Fury, the Thai squad, brought in Critche, who had climbed the ladder through Elevate Academy. In Korea, Sandbox had rebranded as Fearless Foxes, which is such an adorable name, by the way, or Fear X, with veteran
Fearless
Denix
Foxes?
rounding out
I
the
did
squad.
not know that was their
And finally,
name. I thought it was just
La
Fear
Vega
X.
had picked up the seemingly inexperienced roster of Prep Esports that somehow made it to the first Blast R6 major. Copenhagen was upon us. I didn't touch on every single team, opting for the biggest changes for what we now know are the major competing squads. MENA, of course, was the latest addition to the league, and like I mentioned before, had played in regional tournaments for many years, even though they weren't part of the global esports circuit. Falcons and GK looked to be the best from the region, but with a limit of 1 for the event, it was Falcons with P9, Valentino, Jalad, Joker, and O'Kills that headed to Copenhagen. Aside from visa issues, you know how it is.
Bro, always the visa issues.
It was quite
bro.
the pleasant surprise that Team Falcons had topped Group A, joined by M&M Gaming. SSG and NIP came out of B. Sonics and Mexican squad Revan Club came out of C.
Bro, I didn't... Gunnar played like the other... I thought he played like this year. Like I thought this was like his only year.
And W7M and Wolves out
like
of
last
D.
year.
The group's playoffs is where things change, however. W7M had continued their flawless run, even with difficulties against Liquid and Sonics. FaZe, NIP, and Liquid also headed into the quarterfinals as 4 out of the 8 quarterfinalists were from Brazil.
Bro, I didn't...
So
I never... MNM was in the finals bracket? I thought there was Poverty. And Scars? What?
Finalists were from Brazil. Joining them were M&M Gaming and G2 from EU, Sonics from NA, and Scars, a massive surprise.
Yeah,
in
what?
Japan.
Shout out Scars, bro.
Now let's continue with Scars then. I have to say, for a team whose experience maxes out at the Japan Nationals, it spoke volumes for the quality of play in said Nationals when Scars took Skyscraper back from FaZe with an excellent attacking half.
Oh, good kill.
Sure, Scars would end up losing the series 1-2, but to say that APAC is washed when each stage a new challenger comes up and does something like this is arguing in bad faith. The region has what it takes, but unstable rosters and the lack of proper practice due to ping and distance have always dealt a backhand to APAC as a whole, no matter the esport. Remember that the distance from Seoul to Tokyo is greater than Paris to Helsinki. Anywho, another surprise was the world champions of G2 being knocked out by Team Liquid. For all intents and purposes, this was a rematch of the 2018 Atlantic City Pro League Finals, and Liquid had repeated the same score now in Copenhagen. W7M would also pull a 2-1 against M&M Gaming, who enjoyed large support among the European crowd. Cafe might have been a close call, but Villa sealed the deal as M&M just couldn't get past W7M's defense, headlined by KZ.
Yeah, bro, KZ is tough.
Lastly, NIP fought tooth and nail, but Sonics had so much resilience that Grixer could hold the line on Chalet and Bank. The result was still the same. 3 out of 4 semifinalists were from Brazil.
Damn, bro. Brazil
and 2 of them made it quick. W7M and Liquid took out Sonics and FaZe like it was nothing. It would all play out in the final for the prize of the first major under the new
I didn't know
order.
Sonics made it this
in
far.
In Jönköping, W7M seemed to lack experience to push past Liquid. That was before the roster swap and even their run at SI23. This was a different beast altogether. Skyscraper would go to W7M off the back of Felipox and an extra win on defense. Liquid would take it to overtime on Bank, but despite Paulo's efforts, JV92 just shut down the flank and allowed KZ to drop the diffuser
8-9! Oh my god.
An instant before it got planted. On Chalet, Liquid, much like versus BDS,
bro, and then he puts up 10 again. Like,
crumbled under the weight of a W7M who, as Aces called it, had kept a new gear solely for the final.
Trace
on round 10,
Trace O to win. Wow.
The team that was a year ago just some nobody rookies had gone through the entire gamut of trials and tribulations.
3-0 against the Liquid.
W7M were major champions.
Bang. Bang, 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 bang. Herds is tough. JV, bro, that whole team
What's
is
impressive
tough,
is just
bro.
the size of the team on stage lifting the trophy. From players to coaches to staff, it was a huge concerted effort to push the squad past its limits to achieve its true potential. Potential that even the legend Julio had touted as endless.
Julio's tough.
Unfortunately, the summer had become a long off-season. No major in the summer. No stage 2 in the summer. It's necessary to have time off, but people were itching for more. Now, thankfully, there were some regional tournaments to hold things off.
Oh, Mila. Bro, he has that shit on. What the hell?
Combine and Rainbow Rumble in Europe, Element 1 and Game Rogue in NA, Japan Invitational and Summer Cup in Asia, with Gamers 8 coming back for its second year. To say that viewers were beyond ready for Stage 2 would be an understatement, and even more so for the upcoming major.
Your boy Roy.
Atlanta, Georgia. USA, baby.
Hey, ATL Draco.
Atlanta ran with the same format as Copenhagen. The group stage challengers were quickly locked in. NIP, who need no introduction, and GK, the newest up-and-comers from MENA, would come in with Noodle and Leader. The UK players passed the test in Group A. Lost were back in action.
Bro, Noodle
and
is
so were
tall
Bleed,
as hell.
led by the one and only Mentalist.
Bleed, Mentalist. Come on, Bleed. Mentalist, my goat. Love you, Mentalist.
Both out of Group B.
Bang.
G2 and Dark Zero were no surprises from C.
Yep,
Same one for SSG and Wolves in D.
Ashton is on
They all
SSG
faced
now.
off against M80 and Sonics from NA. FaZe and W7M from Brazil, Scars and D+, who were back again from Japan and Korea, and BDS rocked up to the stage with the updated Virtus Pro at their side, which we called already basically Old Empire Prospasha. It was a bloody mess in the Swiss bracket, where it's not uncommon to spiral out when your score starts dropping and others start stacking up wins. Anyway, when the dust had subsided in the Swiss bracket, we ended up with a pretty even playoffs bracket.
What is it? FaZe Space Station? That was probably a good game. Dark Zero Los? Oh my, you guys can't see it. Okay, wait. FaZe Space Station top. Dark Zero Los. I didn't even think they could make it. G2 BDS. That's probably a good game. W7M Geekay. That's probably a wipe. I do not know how Geekay made it. Oh, okay. Yo, chill. Okay, Flames, actually. Flames. Okay.
FaZe faced SSG, an incredibly tight series.
Yeah, bro,
where
this is probably good.
gave it his all. All for none, unfortunately, as the first Brazilian squad advanced to the semis.
Yeah, bro, FaZe is good.
Lost closed a 7-5 on Chalet against Dark Zero, but sent them home packing on Skyscraper 7-0 with one fell.
Yo, I think I've seen he's talked about at least like 6 or 7 7-0s all on Skyscraper, not on any other map. Like
swoop.
And it's probably literally what they do is they get defense first and then just win it all because Skyscraper is such a defensive sided map, and then they're just so chalked that they just fold on defense.
He had been decimated on home turf. Another set for Brazil.
Bang,
it was on W7M to add a third into the mix and had GK to play against. The young MENA and UK team had gusto, but nowhere near the level of experience needed to go deeper in the tournament.
Damn.
An excellent result.
Oh my god.
How do
you get this kill if you're
deeper in the
JV92? Like,
an excellent
damn.
result.
That's a good shot.
But a loss nonetheless. And finally, to break the monotony, EU had guaranteed a semi-spot with G2 facing BDS, which actually went by faster than you think, with G2 figuring out their French rivals and sticking Doki in every possible wound to rub it in.
Dang, Doki.
The semis were also kind of a mid-fest themselves, with G2 stumbling over W7M once more, and Loss, with Cameraman now at the helm, had sought revenge against FaZe, and he'd finally have it.
Dang.
Both games closed at 2-0, 7-2,
Los made the
7-5.
chip? Wait, Los? They 2-0'd FaZe? FaZe didn't even get a map? I mean, this team's low-key... This team's good, though. Mala and Cameraman?
History repeats itself. Another event, another final.
Oh my, look at Herds, bro. Look at the aura on this man.
Itself.
Oh my god, look at him.
Another final with a top-tier Brazilian team.
Bang, bang.
And this time, it's Copenhagen 2.0. Let's remember that Loss are just a slight modification on the Team 1 roster from early 2022.
Team 1, I forgot about
Many
that.
of the players hail from Brazilian Serie B
Alamo.
and regularly interacted with the Tier 1 of the region. Now, W7M kicked off the score 2-0 with a clean finish on Consulate and Chalet, with Felipux utilizing Fenrir to his absolute maximum.
Hey.
Bang crossed over to loss as W7M faltered on their attacking side, an oddity on this map. It all came to a head on Cafe, with Felipox once more playing a perfect support role on Grim.
Dude is 16-7. Oh my god, his team is mid.
W7M locked a 4-2 attacking half. Now JV92 had collected kills on defense and held down the fort. Despite all their efforts and a Monty pick, it just wasn't enough for loss.
Damn.
W7M.
So now W7M, if you're keeping track, has won 2 majors in the same year. First time ever.
Had once more lifted a major trophy.
Actually, I don't know if it's the first time ever.
And final one of 2023.
Yeah, see? Like, that's literally insane. To win 2 major events like that.
Over Dynasty, but there was no doubt in W7M's excellence and domination in the scene. The rookies had become the masters, and all those who sought the halls of greatness in Siege had to go through them.
Okay, so I'm not going to watch this last part, and instead I'm going to take it over to the 2024 major, or the 2024 invitational, and I'll just kind of go through it, because he just kind of talks about, I think he'll just talk about his, I'm talking like I know what he's gonna say, but he's probably just gonna like give you a preview of the next invitational, because that's when that was made. I made sure to check the dates. But basically for the 2024 major, basically going into it, the favorites were W7M, obviously, because they won the 2 majors beforehand of that year. So if you look at it, I need to move my face cam probably. Okay, but W7M took first place in probably the best game of Siege that you will ever see. Pretty much they were down last map. This is like final map, map 5. They were down, bro. They were down like 5 rounds, and the FaZe was on match point, and they literally won somehow. It was like one of the most crazy things. I might react to that video. I'm going to probably. I have a video pulled up of it that I'll probably react to. But basically, they came back from like this like 5 straight rounds. Herds went fed. KZ went fed. They all went fed. So yeah, FaZe Clan lost. Biggest choke job I've ever seen, by the way. Biggest. But yeah, like this shit, bro. That shit was going insane, bro. Jinxie was watching. Everybody was watching it. Insane, bro. Virtus Pro lost to W7M. I'm pretty sure they lost, and then G2 I think lost to FaZe. I forgot G2 actually placed that high. And then Sonics, Dark Zero. These were so these top 8 teams are obviously all the teams that made the main stage. So W7M1, FaZe, Virtus Pro, G2, Sonics, Dark Zero, Space Station. I did not know Bliss made it, but yeah, player. The tournament MVP KZ, he went insane. MVP wins, these are just like kind of the like individual matches. So like in 10 of the matches, Herds was the MVP, even though the tournament MVP was KZ, because he went fed in the final game. MVP of day 1, day 2, these are all the awards. KZ, yeah, C on the final day. But yeah, so these were the teams that made it. Obviously W7M the winners. This is FaZe. W7M in turn, I'm not going to talk about like this year too much because I followed it very loosely, so I can't give you like everything that happened, but pretty much W7M, what happened was they ended up dropping the roster because they couldn't pay for it, and then Furia picked them up, and then W7M pretty much got a whole new roster together, and they won this past major. So yeah, crazy stuff there. I'm pretty sure there's only one major this year though. Major R6. Oh, I'm gonna get into this for you guys. So yeah, so majors R6, major R6. Yeah, so is this Manchester? Okay, here. Oh no, there was 2 this year. I apologize. So pretty much what happened is W7M won this most last major. I'm gonna walk through that in a second. I'm just gonna go through the teams a little bit more. FaZe G2 have a different roster now. Sonics with their Scars, Virtus Pro, obviously Dark Zero, D plus Kia, Space Station, Los, Liquid, NIP, M80, Wolves, GK, Furia, Bliss, Falcons, Bleed, shout out Bleed, Furex, and then this is in all order. So like Furex took last, and then so on and so forth and up. But yeah, so that pretty much is how the Invitational went. So W7M won, obviously. Then what happened is obviously the best team, you know, W7M dropped their roster, things like that. We move into this most current, you know, year 2024, gearing up for the 2025 Invitational, and you can see here, this is the most recent one, Blast Major Manchester, May 16th to the 26th. Manchester, Beast Coast wins this over BDS. I did not see this coming. Beast Coast, insane roster at the time. I don't know if it lets me pull up the active roster, but yeah, this is the team with like Fett. If you know Fett, I think everybody in the Siege community should know Fett. Fett is awesome. He's an awesome coach. Awesome just knower of Siege, bro. Awesome guy. Puts in the work. It was really cool to see this. Gunner went off in this. He's on Beast Coast. This was an awesome major to watch. And BDS took the L in here. And then as you can see in the next one, obviously W7M won this one like I was talking about with a new roster headed by Volps. If you remember him, he's on Team Liquid. So yeah, they won this over BDS again. So BDS made literally back-to-back majors and lost them both. Flames at that point, bro, chalk them. So hopefully they're heading into this new major, 2025, which I can look up for you guys. Actually, I literally should probably just have to do this and it should work. So 2025, this is the one that's going to happen. Obviously, if you're watching this like anytime soon, it's going to happen on Monday, February 3rd, 2025. But if you're watching this in the past, this probably already happened and you can probably look it up. As easy as this. You just literally have to look up Siege Invitational 2025 and it'll pull up all of the stats that you need to see and you can look at literally everything. So yeah, so BDS, this is the global standings. So these are the most like, you know, highest ranking teams. So like BDS is 1, FaZe is 2, W7M's 3, Unwanted is 4. This is excuse me. This is Beast Coast minus Gunner. So, because Gunner went to a different team. Secret in 5. Then we have Liquid. Dark Zero without Canadian, because Canadian is on another team. Space Station with Benjamaster. I should have went through this. Team Secret has Virtue. Liquid has Maya. Maya? I think it's Maya. Has Maya. Instead of Volps. Virtus Pro, same team, Falcons, this is their team. M80 is rolling in with a good squad. They just got a huge bunch of different moves after this current major before the Invitational. Spoit, Kino, Diffuser, Gunner, Packer. Packers from some random team, and then Gunners from like Beast Coast, obviously, and Diffuser's also from Beast Coast. And then Furia, this is the W7M roster. This is literally the past W7M roster that literally won every major event, both the majors and the Invitational last year. But it's just, you know, obviously they're on Furia. Shop Rebellion, this is, what is this? This is Sonics. This is just a different team. Someone bought them. Scars, obviously. Team Joel, this is the old Bleed roster that I love, that we know and love. But they have Leader and Noodle instead of Asfi is in place for Leader, and then Noodle is in place for Turd. And then PSG Talon, this is a, I forget what they are, Paris Saint Germany. I forget where this is, but this is a, Fabian coaches this team, so they're going to get in there. G2 sneaks in. They have Uno, Blaz, Leoria instead of like Benja and all that stuff. Raz H Company Academy. I have no idea who these guys are. They like qualified through like a minor tournament, I think. Oxygen, Newers, Diaz, Yaga, and then CAG. This team is not that great. These kind of teams at the bottom aren't that great, but that's basically how the major the Invitational this year is going to go. Obviously, it should be fun. It's same format and all that. I mean, that's pretty much it then at that point. I mean, we watched this whole video, we ran through what's happening, you know, in the coming invitational. Obviously, if you're watching this like ahead of time or like in the future, you're gonna know what happened. But we learned about everything that happened past tense. I want to give a huge shout out, but yeah, I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Milos. This video was actually incredible. I literally saw this video a couple months ago and like I just forgot to watch it, and I remember I was getting in the mood again, like I told you guys in the intro before we watched the video, and like I saw this and I was like, bro, I gotta watch this, and I was like, I'll just watch it on stream because I'm sure like you guys want to see it too. But yeah, Milos, this was an absolutely incredible video. I don't even want to know how long this took you, because this must have took you actually forever to make, and I'm just sitting here watching it. But yeah, I mean, this was an awesome video. Again, I'll link this in the description, and I'll link the video and him in the description. Make sure you go and drop this man a sub. Just for this video, he deserves a sub, even if you're never gonna watch any of his videos again. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it. I'm low-key gonna do another reaction video on this Siege lore video, I think in the coming time, so look out for that, and then look out for the Siege 2024 invitational reaction that I want to do, because I saw an awesome video that I like watched like the first minute. I was like, yeah bro, we're about to watch this on stream and for YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah, again, go follow him, link in the description. If you liked this, if you were educated, make sure you like the subscribe button. And yeah, I hope you guys had a great time. So again, hit the like, subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.